everybody! Welcome to Sunday night lessons with Deanna and Piquan. How's everyone doing? I hope you're all good. Hey Jims, hey Kjol. It's late, but it's good for all the American viewers and Jims from India who should be sleeping right now. We are going to do... Hope you're both doing well. Yes, I'm doing good. How are you doing, Joel?
I'm doing great, thank you.
That's
Yeah,
good.
really looking forward to today's lesson.
Yes, we have to guess the ELO correctly. Hey Lamprocles, gang. It's also late for Lamprocles, he's in Germany. And Chessup is new to the channel. Welcome. So we're doing
Oh,
something...
welcome, Tessa.
Oh, do you know Chessup? Or... Oh,
No,
yeah.
just say hi.
We are trying something new today. We're doing Guess the ELO. We've done it maybe once or twice, but not properly. So we're all going to try together. Joel and I will input our guesses into Guess the ELO, and you guys can predict what the... I'll put up a prediction, so you can gain some channel charms or you can lose them. And... yeah, so we can get started.
So should we paste the classroom URL there?
Oh yeah. If you guys want to look at the game as well, look through it. Here is the link. Wait, I'll actually just add command. Oh yeah, Kjol can just pin it. Okay, thanks Kjol. Yeah, if you guys want to join the game, you can just click on the pinned link. Okay, are we ready?
I am.
Okay, let's go. So, we are starting with e4, e6. What opening do we have here?
This is a French, isn't it?
Yep, French, perfect. So, I don't. Oh yeah, two of our darlings play the French. Waterford Wizard and Lamprocles both love it. I'm not the biggest fan. So I don't help them very much when we do our lessons and they ask me for help on the French, but it's one of the main openings for black. Okay, so white played, though this is a weird move already. E6. Sorry, already knight f3 is not a main move.
Usually, you'll go ahead and play what D4 or from there.
Yeah, usually you play d4 to take the center, and then black follows up with d5, and now white needs to make a decision whether they push, take, or defend.
Gotcha.
These are the main moves. Also, instead of d4, there's also d3, which is what I sometimes play, which is King's Indian attack. So after d5, we play knight d2, so that when the pawn takes, we want to take back with the pawn to keep a central pawn. And the knight blocks the queen trade.
Okay.
So d3 is also a move, but I'm not familiar with knight f3. Let me just look at the opening book. So, okay, so d4, d3, and then knight f3 is the third most played move, but only 5,585 games in the database, which isn't a lot.
Out of 225,000, so
Yeah,
really not
so
that.
already this indicates that maybe it's not the strongest player, but maybe it's catching us out. Oh, looks like we're in a popular classroom.
It looks that way.
Welcome everyone. So, okay, knight f3 is already making me suspicious. Black replied with d5, which is the main move, and now white played e5. So they're deciding to go into the advanced. I guess we can transpose after white plays d4, maybe.
Yeah, looks that way.
Yeah. So black played c5, and now white played d4. And now, I mean, it's actually, you can't really transpose so much because, so if white played d4 at the start, after d5, e5, then c5, here, what should white play?
Well, so I've been still thinking from here knight f3, but if you're saying that the transposition doesn't work, then I suppose that you could play c3. Um,
Yeah, that's the main move, c3.
yeah, I think c3. Okay.
c3 because if the pawn takes, you want to take back with the c pawn and maintain the center.
Yeah.
So if you would play knight f3 instead of c3, they would just be able to take, and now you have this awkward pawn on e5.
Gotcha.
You can defend it with f4, but f4 is not a move that you have to play.
Yeah.
So already white is in a bit of trouble here because they can't maintain the center after e5. So they played d4, and now black should take, and that's what they did.
And for everybody joining here, I want to make it clear that this is a game that we got from eloguesser.com. This is not one of my games.
Yeah, so we don't know who the players are. We don't know their ratings, and what we're trying to do is actually I should probably put that in the. I'll just change the title. So we're doing Elo Guesser, and if you want to join the classroom where you see the game as well, you can just go through it at your own. You can already fast forward through it if you like, and make up your mind on what the ratings are. Actually, I can already do a prediction. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do a prediction.
I put some bins you can use in Discord for you.
Oh, perfect. Oh, perfect. Okay, so I'm not sure what the maximum.
And
Okay, let me just put in.
oh yeah, I can turn down my mic a little bit.
Oh, that should
There we
be
go. Is that
good.
better now?
Okay.
So 17. We were thinking, yeah, we'd love to get submissions from from darlings.
But not one of your games because then we know. And even if you pretend it's not one of your games, we'll be able to tell.
Well, Deanna would be able to tell. I might be uncertain.
I'll have it up for 20 minutes. Okay, so guess the elo. Okay, I'm gonna start the prediction, so you can gamble your points away, and we'll see at the end. We'll do a reveal on what the elo is. Please, no cheating. Also, hello, Donalicious. Welcome, Dr. Donalicious. Prometheus, hello, Kjol. And Waterford Wizard, hello, everyone. So, okay, predictions are up. And we can continue. Okay, so yeah, white just played d4 and black took, which is the best response because yeah,
Pretty much all you can do there. Yeah.
yeah. And now white has to decide whether they take back with the queen or the knight. Knight is probably better just so you can have this knight in the center, and it can't be kicked away. So
Yeah.
I guess it can be exchanged with knight c6, and that's actually what black played. So knight out. And here, should white take the knight?
I don't think so. I think that White's going to be better off uh, spending a turn developing, and go ahead and let Black take instead.
Okay, so what else is this knight attacking?
What else is Black's or White's knight attacking?
Black.
Oh, right, the pawn.
Yes. So
Yeah, of course.
e5 is attacked.
So so you're probably going to need to play your bishop out. Yeah, if you're planning on playing f4, now would be the time.
Yeah, f4 is definitely a move. So we have to decide whether we trade or play f4. Bishop f4 also looks possible, but I'm not so sure how good this squares for the bishop, because usually you would have this diagonal open when you play bishop f4, like in the London. You'd have your pawn on e4, but now this bishop is just stuck defending, and I think Black can also just play knight e7, knight g6, and just put pressure like this. So if white wants to defend, I think f4 is probably the best way to do it, but also f4 is a bit awkward to deal with. We have all kinds of checks coming.
Yeah.
Which is annoying. So taking is the best option, which is also not something that you would want to do, though, because this is a good knight. But f4 and bishop f4 are both not great. Queen e2 is also not so good.
Pretty much, you've got a lot of bad options at this point.
Yeah. Also, Waterford Wizard suggested bishop b5, which is actually another good move. The only thing is that they'll just play bishop d7 and you're in the same position. And now I guess you can trade an extra piece if you'd like. But this is actually your good bishop, and this is Black's bad one. So you'd just be helping Black if you trade this bishop.
Yeah, I thought about that pin and just decided it wasn't going to be helpful.
Yeah.
But
Um.
and I'm glad that somebody recognized my Saturn V over back there.
Yeah. Donal recently just finished his PhD, so that's why he has a doctor in front of his name now. He used to just be Donalicious, and he's now working for a space company.
Oh, excellent. Well, congratulations. Actually, I've been looking at the Apollo missions a lot lately, and ended up even pulling out my Haynes manual here for the Apollo craft.
Oh, nice.
Some more details.
I can't say I follow much space stuff. Oh, we got a raid. Okay, our first raid.
Oh, yay!
Hello, not Joe Wall. Thank you so much for the raid. Hello, Dirkia. Welcome, everyone. We are doing Guess the Elo. Oh, his dad got him that book for Christmas.
Oh yeah, I got that for Christmas 2 years ago.
No way, that's crazy. What? That's crazy. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the raid. I hope you had a great stream. Make sure you go follow not Joel. The predictions are open also, so if you guys want to guess on what the elo is of the players, feel free to do that. Hello, I'm fine. How are you? Hey, XYZ Alan. Okay, so yeah, bishop e5 is good. Is okay, but the problem is that you don't really want to trade this bishop. It's actually a good bishop, and you can bring it to d3 and you'll have this nice diagonal for it.
Well, also I was thinking that eventually that bishop can get kicked with a6 and b5.
Yeah,
and then that bishop ends up on b3, which just isn't a great spot for it, I don't think, with when it's facing against these two pawns.
Yeah, definitely. b3 is definitely not a good diagonal. And also, yeah, it just once the bishop goes to b5, well, sorry, the reason for bishop e5 is to just pin the knight and defend your pawn that way. And after bishop d7, now the bishop on b5 just has no purpose.
Yeah.
So it would not be the best use of a move. So instead, white just took the knight. Pawn takes. And now bishop d3, which is the best diagonal for the bishop, our Kale bishop. And black developed a knight, makes sense. This maneuver is quite common. I'm not 100% sure about in the French, it seems so, but in it happens in the Italian and also in some Sicilians as well. You bring your knight out to g6.
I thought the knight usually ended up on f3 in the Italian.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, then what am I thinking? Oh, maybe it's the other knight that comes.
Oh,
So
okay.
you have this knight on f6, and then the other knight comes into. Yeah, you're right. The knight also in Sicilians, the knight usually stays on f6 as well. The g knight, but I have seen this maneuver before where they bring the knight back and then they bring it to g6 and then they want to bring it to f4.
Now, what about advanced Caro? Where does the black king's knight end up?
Good question. Let's see. So here, we actually do have some Caracam players. Hello, Owen. Yes, it is. We're also studying the game, I guess. Yes. And if you want to join the study, the link is pinned to the. It should be pinned to the comments. And you can fast forward through it. Hello, Sam. Okay, so I guess Sam plays the Caracan, so he can answer this question better. But where usually does your knight come out? I guess it would come to e7. So here, bishop f5, I guess, is the main move. I think white plays. I've seen h4 and knight f3 before. E6, I guess. I'm not sure if white wants to trade this bishop. But okay, opening explorer says bishop e2 is the main move. Black plays knight d7. And okay, and knight e7, and I guess knight g6 is a move.
Okay.
E7 or h6. Maybe you actually bring your bishop to g7. Yeah, you can't move
So
through
the
it.
backwards f pawn, wouldn't it be a problem there?
Say that again?
If you played g6, the backwards f pawn, wouldn't it be a problem there?
Hmm. Maybe it is the dark squares are a little bit weak, but it seems like it's you don't think g6. Okay, g6 is not an idea. Also it's in the way of this bishop, so maybe this bishop will get trapped. So you probably play h5 and then maybe this knight moves out of the way so that you can develop this bishop. Wait, I'll just play through a few more. Okay, so h6 is the next move. Knight b3 and now g5. Okay. And this bishop can come out like that.
Okay.
At some point you can probably f6 is an idea. At least in the
And
French
17,
version.
I think that's right that it doesn't let spectators step through the game on their own. Yeah, you should be able to see the lines and everything, but yeah, I'm kind of new to the classroom stuff and haven't figured out quite how to set everything up.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you guys probably won't be able to go through it on your own. Hmm. Well, these are just moves that I put on from Opening Explorer.
Right. Okay, let's get back to the game.
Yeah, let's go back. But yeah, I guess to answer your question in the Caro, yeah, knight to e7, and maybe later to g6.
Yeah. I brought up the advanced Caro since, that's where you're also going to see that E5 pawn there.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so the knight went to e7 after bishop d3, and now white played knight to d2. Okay, so I guess they want to go back to f3. Although I'm wondering why they didn't develop the bishop first, and then develop the knight. Maybe you want to bring your bishop to b2.
Yeah, that might be a good spot for that bishop. Is on the diagonal instead.
Yeah, and I guess it's supporting the e5 pawn, which is the biggest thing that white needs to deal with. I wouldn't say it's a problem yet. I mean, I guess it's also a good pawn. It's stopping black from using the d6 square, but I can imagine that white will have problems later on. Okay, so knight d2, black played c5, nice move here. If c4 comes in, this bishop is just going to have to be stuck on e2, which is a bit annoying. So what do you think white should play here?
Well, so I think that white had been planning to play his knight to f3, make way for that bishop. But if white was also thinking about fianchettoing the dark squared bishop, then he could play b3, which would now I'm thinking, okay, if he plays b3 and black plays c4 anyway, I'm wondering how much of a lie, if that sacrifice for the b file might even be worth it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's actually a nice point, because these pawns will be doubled. I'm not sure if they will take back first and then play rook b8. That's definitely something to consider, because white hasn't castled yet and this diagonal is a little bit weak. So after b3, c4 is possible maybe. Yeah, b3 is a good suggestion. It's very in line with the Collie. I think the problem, or something that could be problematic about this move, is that the dark squares are going to be extra weak after a move like d4.
Yeah, true.
So
Well,
not yet.
okay. So after d4, you still got bishop a3.
Yeah, and then put pressure on this bishop. Sorry, on this pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we can just bring our knight in. Wait, no, we can't.
Mm-hmm.
We lose the bishop.
Yeah,
Okay, we lose the bishop. No, actually, yeah, I think d4 is a bit early here, because we can just play queen f3, and the light squares are quite weak here for white. Sorry, for black.
Yeah.
The knight can't move. We've got, well, I guess this check isn't too bad. But we can just castle, and white actually has a nice setup here, and we can bring the bishop to a3 like you were saying. Maybe even a4, bishop a3.
Yeah. But that was one idea of what white could do there, just with the thought of preventing c4. I don't know if playing c4 himself or herself or whatever. Not sure how I feel about that. Yeah, um, you end up isolating black sea pawn, and uh, and you're ready to castle.
Yeah. They can also just play knight c6 and ignore it, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I guess you can take, but now this helps this bishop develop, and these pawns are annoying to deal with in the center.
Mm.
C4. Uh, wait. C4 always looks strange when you don't have it paired with D4.
Yeah.
We got another raid. Hello, Aylin. Thank you so much for the raid. Um, welcome everyone. Also, good night, not Joe Wall. Have sleep well. I'll see you later. Hello, Puppy Cruz. We are guessing the ELO. I think predictions are still open, so you've got a few minutes remaining to guess. So, sorry. So white played c3, which I think is the best response to this, because after c4 you can just go back to c2 and you still have this whole diagonal.
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
after b3, uh, you can't be attacked by the bishop, but by the pawn, but you have other issues to deal with, and maybe at some point c4 could come back, or even there's ideas when the bishop comes to a6 and wants to trade against this d3 bishop, and it would be nice to have the c2 square.
Okay, yeah, I do keep forgetting about pushing a pawn to open a good square for my bishop like that.
Yeah.
For a backward bishop move. So yeah, you're right. That it does seem good.
Yeah, and also usually I guess you have in the structure looks. I was gonna say it looks like it's a d4 opening, but this e5 pawn is there. But this is
Yeah.
just very similar to the Kale setup, and once the pawn is on d4, you can always play c4 after that. So you don't really need to worry about exchanging this bishop, and you also have b3 in that structure, whereas here you can't do that.
Right.
Okay, so black played knight c6. He's attacking the pawn again, or she, and white defended with the knight.
Yeah.
Okay, now black played queen b6, putting pressure on b2. So if the bishop moves now, there's a problem. Sometimes the b2 pawn is poisonous, but since after queen b2, c3 is going to be hanging, whenever you attack the queen, they can just take on c3. And sometimes
Yeah.
there's a knight there as well. So whenever you take on b2 or b7, often there's a trap if the queen can't or isn't attacking something else once they take on b2 or b7. Okay, so white castled. Normal move. Up until here, I guess the following moves after. The only weird move, I think, was at the start, knight f3.
Yeah.
Everything else seems normal. Okay, bishop a6. Actually, I think that's quite a good move because you're trading your bad bishop for white's good one.
Yeah. Not really anything that they can do about it, is there?
Yeah, I guess not. Now your rook is on the same diagonal. So you can either take yourself or make a different move.
Um. Yeah. I'd probably. My first thought would be to make a different move, uh, but I don't know what it would be. Since if you move that dark squared bishop, then you can get into trouble on b2. Uh, so you know I guess maybe rook b1.
Okay, yeah, rook b1 is good. But also, what is the queen now tied down to?
Well, the bishop.
So if we move our bishop, can the queen take on b2?
Okay. No. Uh, well, okay, yeah, you're right. They can't.
Also,
So
yeah.
we could go ahead and develop our bishop instead.
Yeah, so bishop e3 works here. We just have to look over this. But now that c3 is defended, we can just play rook b1, and now we have a really nice active rook. And
Yep.
black's king is quite weak here. Still takes them 2 moves to castle. But in the game, they didn't play bishop e3, so I guess they didn't see that.
Yeah.
Bishop e3 would have been a good move. Rook b1 is also a great move. And rook b1, maybe you will have b4 ideas to open up that file, and if they take, you can maybe even sacrifice a pawn.
Yeah.
Okay, so white actually took the bishop. Queen takes, and b4 was played. So they went for this sacrifice, and you can see the eval bar going down loads.
Yeah.
b4, it's yeah, I don't mind these kinds of sacrifices. It looks very much like a Benko idea, but it just helps
I just
black
don't
develop.
like letting that knight, that bishop, that queen sit there in this, really nice coordinated setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no clear way to attack the king because queen a4 doesn't work. The queen is just covering all the squares. You don't have a light square bishop anymore to check. Opening up the position would be good if it was in the center, but here it will just help black develop and then castle quicker.
Yeah. Opening the side where your opponent's attacking, probably not the best plan. Okay.
Yeah, so b4, ambitious but not very well calculated or evaluated. C takes, pawn took as well, and now the bishop took. And now white played a3. So if you're going to sacrifice a pawn, a move like a3 is definitely not a move that you want to be relying on or being a follow-up to sacrifice.
Yeah, just kind of, okay, well, we've already lost, we've already sacked that material. Let's sack some more. Let's trade off some more, I should say.
Yeah, and also exactly. So now this is going to be another target. Your bishop is tied down to this pawn, maybe, and also the rook. But it's not a very ambitious move. It's just attacking the bishop. The bishop can move and maybe even improving the square of the bishop. Bishop back to e7 maybe, and now it's no longer going to be a target. So, oh, actually, the bishop went to c3, and now it's a double attack.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, I think white actually just loses another pawn here. The rook moved, and now you can just take on e5.
Yeah.
They're just building hype for the big comeback at the end. Do you mean the mini mundos, or we have real mini mundo here to build hype? Or do you mean in the game? Okay, so yeah, the knight took, knight takes. Black is now just 2 pawns up. It's looking very nice for black. Okay, white finally developed the bishop. Oh, white, yeah. Oh, right. Okay, yeah, white is building comeback. Building up for a comeback at the end. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because usually this is how these games go. Okay, so
Well, I really don't know. Like I said, I don't know how Elo Guesser picks their games, so I don't know if that's, you know, if there's going to be big turnarounds here. But let's see.
Yeah. Also it depends on the time control, but since it's mostly blitz games, there
Yeah,
could
we
just
know
be
that this is Blitz.
yeah, there could be some big blunders at the end. Okay, now f4 was played. I really don't think White is a very strong player. What do you think about this move?
Mm. It's. I think that it's just. It almost comes off as kind of a desperate get off my lawn attack, but I. Um, yeah, White's not going to be launching an attack on the king side here. So it seems like it's more just sacrificing the king's safety than doing anything about trying to get an attack going.
Yeah, exactly. It's not helping. It's not creating an attack. You don't really have a starting point, or you don't even have enough pieces to attack with. I guess you can use bishop, rook, and queen, but um, black has the same, and they can easily just bring the queen back in. Also, it's weakening this diagonal, like you said, weakening the king, and um, often this, whenever you have, I guess, the three pawns, if anything, you would want to play g3 and h4, but playing it this way, f4, and then if you need to play g3 to protect the pawn, it just opens up the second rank, and you can have a lot of problems there. Um, Either already while the queens are on the board, but also if the queens are off and you just have the rooks, because a rook on the second is much more powerful if the f pawn has already pushed.
All right, makes
Um,
sense.
yeah. So f4 doesn't really help white structure at all. So bishop went back. G4
How
came
are we
back.
with time on the predictions? I want to see if we can get through the game before the predictions close.
I think it's our predictions are
Oh,
closed.
okay.
I
All
should have
right.
I should have put 30. Um,
That's fine.
next time I'll put for the next game I'll do 30 minutes. That's the
Yeah.
maximum. Um, okay, so yeah, why just play G4? Okay, maybe they are just trying to launch an attack, which maybe isn't such a bad idea because you don't have anything else in the position, but you're also just weakening your king a lot. The second rank is quite weak. If black starts to bring the rooks in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. And another pawn is gone. So black is now three pawns up. A nice pass pawn here and here. And
And
here,
threatening the pawn on e3. Yeah. I mean the
yes,
bishop on e3. But yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so they're threatening the bishop on e3 with check, and now white played g5, so they're just blundering the bishop.
Yeah.
Um, so,
Ouch.
so this already should tell us. This is a big indicator of what the elo is, maybe range wise.
Yep.
Okay, so black took. Also, black has been playing quite well. I haven't seen
Black
them.
has. Black
Yeah.
clearly does. Yeah. Does know their French here, and this doesn't look like a yeah. Like usually, I think of the French as being very claustrophobic, and Black has not had that problem at all.
Yeah. I'm surprised Radiograph fan and Moral Guy are thinking about the 1800 range. Are you sure about that? I don't know if 1800 is I would be really surprised since I'm in that range.
Oh, I was
Oh,
reading 1800 to 200. Yeah, I was thinking if they were saying giving that as a joke. I think they meant 2000 maybe is what you're thinking.
oh yeah, was it? Wait, 1800 to 200? Oh, to 1200. Wait, what?
I think maybe they meant 1800 to 2000.
Yeah. Oh, it was a joke. Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
Okay. Right. Good joke. Owen. Okay, Owen guesses 1200. Yeah, I'm also along those lines. Yeah.
Really,
Um.
1200. I was actually thinking even lower, but
Yeah. Yeah. That's
let's see how
true.
it goes.
That's true. I'm not sure how these pairings go because I feel like Black is playing at least 1500 level, so I don't know if there's going to be a big gap between them or if Black is just
So
under.
either just put a maximum of 200 between them.
Okay, that makes
So they're
sense
within
actually.
200 points of each other.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
like I said, it's a blitz game.
Yeah. Okay, Guinness hat is redeemed. 1 second. Hello, Pawn Marsh Destroyer. We'll put on the Guinness hat.
All right.
Okay, so Queen just gave a check. I mean, we can actually go through it quite quickly here because White has
Yeah.
already made so many blunders. Bishop check. Yeah, okay, now White is in a lot of trouble because the king is just empty. So now you can see the problems with f4 and pushing the g
Mm-hmm.
pawn. So you have to give up another um, exchange.
And now, ooh, and he doesn't even take it.
Yeah, he doesn't even need to. Black is playing so well. No way. 200 rating points different. Doesn't seem like it's enough.
Well, when I said he doesn't take it is he doesn't take the f pawn.
Oh, I actually missed that. Oh, that's true. I missed that. Wait, that's a really nice move. Queen takes f4. Queen takes f4. That's a really nice move. And then you can take on g5. Yeah, I like that move. I guess maybe they missed it or they wanted to keep an eye on this diagonal. That's a really nice move. So Black just played rook b8. King moved out of the way. Okay, and now what can Black do?
Well, black could just take that rook. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the queen is gone.
Yep.
So that's what happened. Rook takes, queen takes, and yeah, the rest. Okay, and now the game over. Okay.
Ooh.
This is tough because levels seem completely different.
Yeah. Um, I mean, some of this was so looking through this, just kind of real quick here. Like I'm seeing that you know, okay, so obviously nobody, much over 1200 is going to play the knight here because an e4 player is going to have exposure to the French, I expect, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so and then White just ended up really having to be in this defensive position through the whole thing.
Yeah. B4
And
is yeah.
yeah, B4. So let's see here. So right now the eval is minus 0.31. I only dropped to minus 1.85. So only a pawn and a half for that move. Um, but yeah, that's just not the time to be sacrificing. It does feel kind of, a lot of this does feel kind of panicky.
Yeah, f4
I
is
say
yeah.
sympathy because, yeah, F4 here.
Yeah, f4 it's I mean, if I think about it in terms of just you're 2 pawns down and you want to try something, but it's too weakening.
Yeah.
I think White is under 1000.
Really?
Just because, okay, f4 I think is quite strange. Also, like you said, knight f3 is a strange move to play against the French. So they haven't responded to the French often, which means they're probably lower down. But also, if you're not playing for the center, that also is not a over 1000 thing because you know that if you can, you want 2 pawns in the center.
Okay. Yeah. See, I've been thinking 1100.
Okay.
Just more on Black's play than
Yeah, that's true. Black I
anything
would give
else.
them 1500 even.
Yeah. Um,
um. Okay, let's say if black is 1300, then white would be 1100. Okay.
yeah, that moral guy points out Rook B8, which, um, you know, that was just such a strong move here.
Yeah. Yeah, rook b8 was really nice, especially because usually you take immediately after you get something like this.
Yeah.
Or that's even I would probably take immediately, especially in a blitz game. But thinking
Yeah.
about rook b8 is it's such a subtle move.
And you notice that, uh, so, I've got the eval up here for those of us who are, who are in the classroom can see the eval. The rook to b8, either rook to b8, are the only lines for mate, for forced mate.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
These are
All
true.
right, so do you have a crop that shows Elo Guesser?
Yeah, I'll just bring it in. One sec. I'm just gonna add. Okay. One sec. I'm just gonna add a new tab. Yeah, radiographer, you can calm down. Okay. One sec. Here we go. Okay, I'm just gonna have classroom open on a different tab. Just give me one sec. Okay. So what is our guess?
I'm I'm thinking 1100.
So 1100 for white. Oh, or
1100 is so it's the average of the two is what we're guessing
oh
here.
right, okay. Hmm. Yeah, that's a tough thing. Wait, I'm actually not sure because white played so badly, but maybe it's just blitz and black just played such a good game. I don't know if they're 1300. And white could be overrated and had a terrible time and then just wanted to start being desperate.
That could be. Like I said, a lot of White's moves did feel kind of panicked of, okay, let's do something crazy and see if they react badly.
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying 13. Wait, sorry, you're saying 1100?
Yeah.
Okay, 1100. Okay. I'm thinking 1250 minimum.
1250 minimum. Okay.
Black is putting me off. Maybe white just had
Why
some
don't you
bad
put
news
your
before
prediction in?
the game. Yeah, that could be true. I mean, I play like black a lot, like white did a lot in my bullet games and also rapid. Also, when I'm playing against the darlings, I play like this a lot. So, could be 1800. Okay, let's go for. We can go for 1200.
Well, I've got my guess of
Oh,
11. You're thinking 13.
you already have it. Oh yeah, you already have. Okay, then yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. So it doesn't
Go,
matter. We don't
go
have
ahead
to.
and put in your guess,
Okay,
and we'll see.
I'm gonna put in. So you're saying 1100. I'm actually gonna say 1400. I'm changing my mind.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're locking in 1400. So everyone that predicted, let's see. Are you ready?
Let's
Let's
see it.
see. Oh!
Where was it? I'm still lagging on the Twitch page.
It's 1709.
This was 1709.
Oh my goodness.
Oh wow.
What? Wait, let's have a look at the game. Wait, why
Yeah.
was higher rated? No. No. There's no way.
Oh my goodness.
Why was higher rated? And the time control is 3+0. White
Yeah.
had way more time as well. Okay, White was playing quite quickly. No, this is not okay. What the heck? Sorry, can you not see? Oh, wait, sorry. I have a different tab open. Wait, let me just fix that.
Well, I'm looking at it on Twitch right now, but
Here, these are the actual ratings. It's on top of the board. Okay, the layout isn't the best, but here are the actual ratings: 1715 and 1704.
oh, no.
What? I mean, okay, it does actually make some sense because I have played like that before, but Knight F3 is definitely off-putting. But Black played really well.
Yeah.
Okay,
My goodness, 1700 and
no one predicted that.
oh really?
Yeah, no one predicted. Okay, well, some of you guys lost your points. Hmm.
Oh wow.
Hard luck, Halvard. Halvard is playing in a tournament in Mallorca, and if he would have won today, he would have gotten over 2,000.
Oh.
That's tough. Oh, Lamprocos, you guess 800 to 999. I thought I should guess White. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe
And
it's a.
85% were on the 1100 to 1200 bucket.
Yeah, nobody thought that. Ooh, someone put in 11,000. Holy moly. 11,000 charms gone down the drain. Dr. Wiener. Okay, let's go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's refresh and let me just copy this. Okay, I'm just gonna take off Elo Guesser. Okay, new position. I'll send it to you as well on Discord. Maybe
Alrighty.
it works better. Okay, I'll leave the prediction on this time a little bit longer, and I'll try not to spend too much time on it, and then afterwards we can spend more time once we've looked through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It's up.
So, and just for everybody that came in with the raids and such, uh, this is my chess lesson. But instead of reviewing one of my games, we decided to play Elo Guesser on stream. So what we've got here is just games pulled out of chess.com, just blitz games from chess.com. We're looking over them. Guess the Elo. We know how that goes. And yeah, we've got channel prediction points for it too if you want to jump in there.
Yeah. And thanks to Piquan for suggesting this and taking the time to come on stream as well. And using his lesson to entertain the darlings. Okay, so next prediction. The game is in the study if you guys want to click on the link and see it. So I'm adding the next one. Okay. Guess the ELO, and I'll put it on for 30 minutes. So we have 30 minutes to look over it.
All right.
Okay. You can see me moving.
Yep.
Okay. So, okay, we have e4, e5. And this time we've just got a normal... Oh.
Normal Italian going.
Yeah, bishop c4. And now, oh, sorry. Fast forward, dude. Okay, and now black played d6. Which is...
Which is what?
Which I would say is not the main move. Knight f6 is just...
It feels a little bit passive to me, yeah.
Yeah, it's already closing off this bishop, and this pawn isn't even attacked yet. It's not... And exactly, Owen, this is actually the bishop's opening. Patrick, 17 loves this. Wanted me to play this at the Olympiad, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's kind of different to the Italian. I think it's a bit more... There are some aggressive lines with f4 early on, and you don't develop your knight straight away on f3. Take care, Halvard. I hope you're doing okay, and sleep well, and have a safe flight tomorrow. Hard luck. We'll see you in the next stream. So bishop c4 is kind of a little bit more aggressive than knight f3, but it's less accurate, if I can put it that way, because you're not posing a direct threat like knight f3 does.
Yeah.
So,
you are kind of getting black a little bit out of what they do every time, but
yeah,
whatever their favorite e4 response is.
Yeah. So it seems like already black is playing on autopilot because they're defending the pawn when they don't need to. Instead, they should just play knight f6 and attack the e4 pawn.
No.
Okay, so d6, and now white played d3. Also a bit unambitious.
So those of us who were expecting a fried liver are disappointed.
Yeah, knight f3 is definitely a better move. Knight f3, and if you want to push the d pawn, then d4 looks a lot nicer than d3, because d4, if they take, yeah, you can just take back with the queen, or you can, I think you can even just play knight f3, because now you have the g5 square.
Yep.
So if black holds on to this pawn, already this is looking kind of annoying. You have to play knight h6 to defend. Queen f3. Okay, I guess it's okay for black, but they have to be very careful. So yeah, d3. These two moves are not giving me the impression that they're over a certain amount. Like, probably I'm thinking now 14 to 1500. Okay, also h6 is very strange.
I mean, yeah, if they wanted to block bishop g5, then they could have done that after knight f3 was played, right? Is that kind of what you're thinking? Or is there something else?
So if they play knight f3 first, then they're threatening bishop g5.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. h6 doesn't stop anything. It doesn't. The knight isn't on f3 yet, and bishop g5 is not possible. So h6 is, unless they want to play g5, but already that's too early. So h6 is also not great. White played knight c3. Okay, normal move. Now black developed. Okay, so they were afraid of, they wanted to play knight f6, but they were afraid of bishop g5.
Okay. I mean, it still seems like you could have just played h6 then if you wanted to, or just kind of ignore the pin or block it with your dark squared bishop.
Yeah, that's true. So here instead, let's say if they just played knight f6 and bishop g5, you can just play h6 here. You don't need to be afraid of this exchange. So
yeah.
If the bishop goes back, you can just play bishop e7 and castle, and you're fine. It's not really a big threat.
Yeah.
Especially since you play d6, you don't have big ambitions for this bishop. So
No, exactly. That's actually kind of why I was thinking you could block the pin with it and hope that they trade it off.
yeah.
You know. So, uh, okay,
Okay.
okay. I'm also wondering where that knight's gonna end up, but
The G
since
knight.
no black's F knight, black's F6 knight.
After this, or
At some point, he doesn't. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it just doesn't feel like that knight's gonna be able to really do much
Yeah,
in
maybe.
this
Yeah,
game.
that's true. I don't know if f5. Yeah, f5 doesn't. h6 just takes away ideas of f5 and knight f6 because now g6 is not possible anymore. So
Right.
I mean, I guess it's just a normal knight on f6. It's not.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not so. It's not so bad. Okay. So. Okay. We have ambitious players here. d3, d6, bishop d2, h6. They're both afraid of each other. Okay, bishop d2 is incredibly unambitious. If
Yeah, that
anything,
bishop is not doing anything at all. Okay.
yeah. And if you want to castle queenside, then at least bring it to e3. But if you're gonna castle kingside, then this knight needs to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want, you can play f4 and knight f3 because here there's no check from the queen. But bishop d2 is definitely not the way to go.
Yeah, the only thing that I could see that you might have in mind would be if you wanted to play something like this, but that doesn't even seem to make much sense either.
Yeah, well, 95. I actually do like this move. Maybe it's a tiny bit early just because you want to maybe just have this knight out and then play knight
Right.
d5. But actually, knight d5 is much nicer than bishop d2. I much prefer that.
Yeah.
Um, so bishop d2 is also a bit passive. Black played bishop e7. Okay, not much choice with that bishop anyway. Okay, knight e2. Maybe they're preparing f4. Knight e2 isn't the worst move, but it's not as nice as knight f3.
Yeah, and also that kind of, when they played bishop d2, I thought maybe they're planning castle queenside, but knight e2 blocks that.
Yeah, it blocks the queen. It doesn't do anything different from. Okay, it does control the f4 square, and it allows you to play f4. So it is. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
it's in line with f4. But if white is playing bishop d2, I don't see them playing f4. I would be very surprised.
Yeah.
Okay, so bishop e6. They want to trade off this bishop. Um, Again, they're weakening these squares. If they,
Yeah, that looks like a trade I would want to take. Where I would want to trade first.
yeah, it's a tough one because I guess you are allowing them to have an extra support in the center, but um, then maybe I would play knight g3 and go here. Sorry, I mean obviously the knight is there, but I would try to go
Yeah,
to h5.
you would play for that. Yeah.
Although yeah, it's gonna be. Well, I mean, okay, I'm already threatening knight h5.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess they'll just castle and maybe it's not so weak and they have the open f file. So maybe it looks worse than it is.
Okay, yeah.
Is white aiming to
But
fork on
instead,
here?
White just decides to back off, say, if you want to trade that, let's do it over here on b3 instead, and open up my rook.
Yes. Um, yeah, I guess that makes more sense. So bishop takes e6 was my first instinct as the best response, but I don't think it's so good because it gives
Okay,
black the center and then also the f file, and the weak light squares aren't going to be able to be controlled so well without the light square bishop.
gotcha.
Um, Also, Waterford Wizard is white aiming to fork on f5. Um, what do you mean? Let me just see. So, after here, maybe. I'm not so sure what fork you mean. Is this some system white is playing? I've never seen this before as white. Um, maybe if they played f4 first, it could be a Vienna. Like they might want to transpose. Okay, I took a peek and I saw that they played f4 earlier. So, okay, it looks like they're transposing into Vienna. So yeah, maybe it is some kind of system. Knight c6 makes sense. Okay. Did you see white's next move?
No, I haven't looked yet.
Okay. Do you want to take a guess?
Well, given the way that you're laughing, I'm thinking that it might be bishop takes c6.
Yeah. Okay, they decided to go back to b3 and now take the bishop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're not very they're not sure in
They're not.
themselves.
Yeah, yeah, and that kind of belies the idea that they may be trying to play a Vienna type setup too. That they're playing with less of a plan than you'd expect.
Yeah, this is a very strange move to make because you have so many opportunities here. You can just castle, play f4, you can play knight d5 like you were suggesting earlier. There's a lot of
Yeah,
options. If you want knight g3 to go into f4, taking now seems like a waste of a move. Like a big waste.
yeah, yeah. Especially since that pretty much takes away your ability to put your knight on d5 too.
Exactly, yeah. So it do, I guess I don't they maybe didn't have a reasoning for not taking and then they were like, "Oh, actually it is good to take," but then they didn't think through it enough or their thought
Yeah,
process wasn't um ideal or correct. So, okay, f takes and now white decided to castle, black castled as well. And now white played f4.
yeah.
Okay, so they've
At
got
least white castled before they played f4.
yeah. Although um if they play yeah, I guess they don't really have enough time to castle queenside, but f4 here wouldn't be so bad because you're keeping your options open.
Mm-hmm.
But also black can just castle queenside as well.
Yeah.
So castling, yeah, castling actually does seem better than f4 immediately. Black castled f4, and now, okay, if you were
And now
black, would you take?
they take it. Oh,
Yeah, they
yeah.
take it. This is, I mean, actually, if you think about it, it does make sense because you're undoubling your pawns. Um, but
But
uh,
that pawn actually was doing a good job controlling d5 and f5.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was a actually I was talking about the e pawn. Yeah, exactly. Um, so yeah, that e6 pawn. Uh, oh man, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, you have a lot of control of the center, and your plan is to play d5, maybe. But also, if you take, you're just helping this knight come into these two weak squares that black has. So
yeah.
e takes and white took back with the knight, which makes a lot of sense. Now you're threatening this fork. You're also threatening this fork.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, black has to defend the fork. So they played queen d7. Makes sense.
That defends one of the forks.
Yeah, rook here, and now, would you take the bishop?
No,
Why not?
no. Because I think that knight is going to be in a really good spot here. I think that bishop actually is sitting there, kind of disconnecting the queen and rook, which is nice and funny. I think that now might be the time instead to try to get some of the other pieces into the game. I'm not yet sure how, but it doesn't seem like it's quite the time to trade off this very poorly placed bishop.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Excellent points. So this knight is just so strong. It's nowhere near as bad as this bishop on e7. It's just not worth the trade. And yeah, this bishop is disconnecting the queen and rook. Really good point. It's also just not a great bishop. It has not much mobility, nowhere to go really. F8, E8, D8. And even if it were to open up, this diagonal is good, but this knight on g6 is just so well placed.
yeah.
And it can't be kicked away by a pawn. So if black wanted to kick it, they would have to attack it with the knight, which is not so easy to do, because even if you play something like this, white would be happy to take here, because then you doubled these pawns and they're also going to be isolated.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, Waterford was an outlandish suggestion. Bishop takes h6 worth considering. Definitely in the future you could be looking at these sacrifices. If you already had your queen on the h file, you could be looking at that, because paired with the knight, you might have some checkmating ideas. This rook on f7 does kind of is a bit annoying because they can bring it to h7, but you can definitely think about those ideas, especially if you bring your queen here and maybe also bring your rook into the g file to open up the king. With these plans, if you are thinking about sacrificing like this, you could also replace the sacrifice with a pawn break like g4, h5 and create the same threat. It would take longer, but if you play g5, okay, I don't think it's so great here because you haven't set up your pieces perfectly for an attack. Your queen hasn't moved yet, but if you were to look for these sacrifices, this could be a possible plan, but I think it's too early to look for that right now. But it's definitely something that you could build up in the next few moves. Also, I'll just say another thing is black does have a lot of pieces around the king, so even if you were to start an attack, I don't think it would be so hard for black to defend. They have quite a lot of pieces around the king. But good suggestion.
As a counterpoint to that, I mean, yes, they've got a lot of pieces around their king, but that also means the king is stuck on the back rank. So, like, if you could, if you can, if you could have your queen over here on h2 or something, then you very well may be able to get the queen to h8. That would seem to be a solid plan there.
Yeah, the king is on the back rank, so they can't. Also, this knight is stopping them from going to f8, which is a big thing. But I think it's, for example, black can just play a move like bishop h7 and knight h7 and then bring the bishop to g5 and trade a bishop,
Okay, yeah.
or have and then their queen is also protecting here.
Okay, that's true.
Wait, you're
Okay.
thinking bishop takes, pawn takes, queen g4, and then knight e5 to win a queen. Okay, good. Well, it's good that you're looking along these lines. It's just that you want to make sure g4 is possible first. So I guess you could be thinking about these things. But before you sacrifice too many pieces, you want to make 100% sure that the line works. So bishop takes, pawn takes. Let's say if you took the knight, they would take back with the bishop. And then once you play queen g4, they still have time to protect against the threat. So they could just play their rook to g8. So let's say you take like this, queen here. Sorry, to g7. Now they're the ones attacking. But good thinking. You're looking for tactics, which is how you create tactics, which is how it helps you create these kinds of positions on the board. So white decided
if you had a better way to get rid of that knight that's protecting g4, then that would be great. But
yeah, especially if you could play something like e5, then that would be great as well. But it's not worth sacrificing another piece. White decided to take here, so that's another indication that maybe they're not the strongest.
No.
Queen takes. And now, okay, so white played queen c1. They're setting up for this attack.
Yeah. Oh man, that's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Not only is black going to be able to just move that g pawn. I mean, black of course can immediately just play g5 here. And besides that, like you say, now the queen and rook are protecting the seventh rank.
Yeah, that's true. Although, if the bishop does take, pawn takes, and queen takes, there's no follow up after that because now, you no longer have a knight on f3 that you can bring in, and even if you did, the seventh is already, is also opened in this position. So maybe we would actually want to encourage them to take on h6. So we wouldn't even.
Yeah, good point.
But I guess g5 maybe is also just as encouraging. G5 then actually maybe you can use the g file to attack with. And then you can start bringing your pieces. Okay, so black is starting an attack here. Knight g5, g4, threatening maybe queen h4. Yeah, this looks uncomfortable for white because you no longer have this knight on f3 defending the h2 square.
Yeah.
So white took the rook.
So you think the white's attack has fizzled out enough that it's okay for black to start his attack?
Yeah, I think
that's kind of what I was thinking, but I wasn't really certain. So okay.
I guess I don't know if white had too. If they kept their knight here, maybe they could try create an attack, but I don't think that it has started yet. This knight has just happened to be allowed to get onto a really nice square because I don't think that they were even thinking it would be possible. Well,
okay.
Maybe they were hoping that black would take, but it's never. It's not a viable option unless black cooperates. So you can't really.
Okay.
Yeah. What's that called? You can't bank on getting your knight on g6, but once it did get to g6, white should have just kept it there, and then they could create some threats. But once the knight is gone, there's no follow up with this. Queen c1 is much too passive. Yeah. If you do want to start attacking, you would want to have the queen in front of the pawns because then you could also bring both the rooks in. But if the queen is on c1, you're just taking away another piece that can come in.
Okay.
The rook on a1. So, yeah, black definitely can just start the attack. Knight g4. Maybe rook f8 is a bit more. It's a better preparatory move because when you play rook f8, you're covering the rook, so you can take back with the rook, and you can still use your queen on this diagonal. But if you move your knight now, I think it's just one move too early because now once the rooks are traded, you have to take with the queen or with the king, which is a bit uncomfortable, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think you really want your king out, and then you would have to move it back again to allow this rook to come in. So Rook f8 would have been a better move there. Okay, there's not too much time for prediction, so
yeah, let's keep going through.
Yeah.
We're halfway through the game.
Okay, so rook took, queen took back, and now h3 to kick away the knight. And now black has a really nice move. What can black play here?
Well, so the first thing that I'm looking at, of course, is queen f2 check.
Yeah, excellent. Bring the queen in.
Yeah.
So you can just give this check first and then take care of the knight, and your queen is already on a incredible square here. So king moved. And now...
And now he brings in his other knight.
They found it. This is the best move. If they move this knight, they just lose a bit of momentum, and this is a really nice learning point, because black has the initiative here. They're threatening maybe some mating ideas, and they have the attack. The knight is on an incredible square. The queen is as well. And you have two pieces that are not that haven't joined in the attack, and white also has a lot of pieces that aren't defending. So if you move your knight out of the way, you lose a lot of momentum, and you allow for white to get back in the game a bit. So here is an important point where it's worth sacrificing a piece to bring another piece into the game, because you're not losing a piece from the attack. So
yeah.
You're actually keeping a piece in the attack. If the attack doesn't work, then that would be a problem for material-wise in the endgame. But right now, black just understood that this attack is quite dangerous for white. So it's worth sacrificing a piece. And white just doesn't have enough pieces around the king to defend against this. And you're already looking at mating attacks. So if this happens, it's too slow to take back immediately, so you'd need to give this check first.
But you can still give check, yeah.
Yeah, and now after king here,
presumably you're planning to bring the knight back. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and this looks very scary. Bishop here, but you can still give this check. And
but this is now back in hypothesis, right? This isn't.
This is not the game mode. This is just to show you how if white takes the knight. So worst case, you have a perpetual whenever you want, but rook f8 is coming, and this bishop is going to be threatened, and it's very dangerous for white, close to game over. So knight here is a beautiful move by black. They did take. And now... Okay. Oh no. Okay, so black actually took back this pawn, which is a blunder. Can you see why? Sugar, I'm just gonna quickly go through the game just to show everyone.
Yeah, go ahead.
You have a few seconds left, probably less than a minute to predict, but I'll just show you how the game went. So knight takes, bishop took here. We have some... Oh, okay. So bishop takes here is a big blunder as well.
And it does the check that they needed to do in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah, and now... Okay, they just traded. Black missed a mate earlier, which will go through... Oh, okay. Now white has the control and more material, a pawn up. Okay, and now after this, it's game over because, well, it's not really that clear, but okay, white is winning. White has 2 extra pawns, but it's not that obvious. So...
Yeah, and it could have been a loss on time, though.
Yeah, that's true. It could have also been lost on time. Black might have spent all the time here during the attack. But I will say before, quickly, you only have a few seconds to predict. Get predicting. Black missed mate in 5 here. Queen h1, knight here, rook f8. Okay, they have to block with the queen, but king d1, and black missed this. So... Okay, we'll just go back in a bit more detail. A few people got their predictions in. So we left off here. Yeah, this is a big blunder for black. Can you see why?
Um,
What does it allow white to do?
well, so I'm looking to see if you. So I'm looking at ways that you might be able to trap the queen, not seeing it. I'm uh, I'm looking at ideas of maybe. I mean, okay, so white can trade the queens probably, uh, and that might well be the best thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Queen e1
Okay,
is an excellent move here for white because you're just taking back control of this diagonal, which is the most important one for black because you're threatening right now queen h4, and after the
yeah,
king goes here, queen h1, and then after king f1, rook f8, and you have all of your pieces joined in on the attack, and then queen h1, and these mating ideas come in. Um, so if you can stop the queen going to h4, um, you're just going to be a piece up because the attack doesn't work anymore. So queen e1
yeah,
here, black doesn't have much follow-up. They can't go to b6. If they stay on this file, it's still not enough because white can just bring the queen in. If there are no more checks, now you're just a piece up. Um,
yeah.
and I'll just show quickly, bishop e1 doesn't work because there's mate in 1. So
Oh, okay. That's what I was trying to look at just a second ago. So okay, that's why.
yeah. I think yeah, I'm not maybe speaking into the mic enough. Thank you, Mr. Dem, for letting me know. I'll change the settings a bit. Okay, maybe it's a bit better now. But yeah, so bishop e1 doesn't work because there's mate. But you want to trade your queens if you can. So queen e1 is the best move here. White didn't see that. White went for this crazy bishop takes h6, which doesn't make any sense at all because it allows for just you're
The
giving
exact same plan.
yeah exactly. Queen h4 is now allowed, which was the threat earlier. Also, if black wants, they can just get material back because this isn't uh, getting anything out of it. There's no reason at all for bishop takes h6
Yeah.
except for being desperate because you don't give the queen any extra. Okay, there's one reason, and that's maybe that you can bring your queen over here since if you move your queen to g1 then you lose the bishop, but or f1. But if you wanted to trade, there's still this square. So
Okay.
that's weird. Yeah, bishop takes h6 is very strange. And now black played the correct move here. And after this, they took the bishop, which is fine. Okay, the best move here is rook f8 or queen f2, but taking the bishop makes sense as well. It doesn't...
Yeah. Queen f2 just kind of repeats moves for a second, and then you still play rook f8, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true. You're right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So rook f8 is just the... Or I guess queen h2 and rook f8 also look very tempting, and you can always take this bishop back anyway, so you could go for that. But taking I don't think is a problem, especially since you see that everything is under control.
Yeah.
Okay, so pawn takes, and now... Yeah, this is another very strange move because knight e2 is not really threatening anything. Or not stopping anything either. You can still go to f2 and bring the rook to f8
Mm-hmm.
and to h2. I mean,
Maybe he's wanting to be able to put the knight on f4 to block the rook or something. I don't know.
yeah, I guess yeah, maybe to block or to block on g1 later, or maybe to just bring another piece into the game. But the main thing is that They're attacking with the queen and you're not defending with the queen. So you need to defend with the queen.
Okay.
Queen e1 or maybe even queen f4, but this is also not good. But there's... Yeah, white is just completely lost here. They can't do anything. If queen e1, you can just give the same check that you want to do and then rook f8. And then you just lose everything. So, okay, so queen e1. And now black played, after queen h2, here there's mate in 5 that we saw earlier, queen h1. And after this, I'll just go through it again. Here, if the king goes to e2, you can just take, and it's a bit quicker.
Yeah.
These squares are taken, so you have to go here or here, and it's the same move. So we have a ladder type mate. And if rook here, if they go to to e1, I mean you can already just... Well,
Yeah,
this, yeah.
I think that the end games from this are pretty clear. Yeah, I think that this is pretty clearly a force mate. And what did they do in the game?
Yeah, in the game after rook f8, oh sorry, they played rook f8, which is just slightly less accurate. I mean, there's no force mate now, but it's still close to game over.
Still crushing.
Yeah. King here. Yeah, and here, this is where they went wrong.
Ooh.
So they played knight f2.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm not so sure about the idea behind this. It's stopping king here, but it's also stopping the rook.
Yeah, at this point, the queen and rook working is what you really want working together.
Yeah. Hey, Catnip. How are you doing? Welcome to the chat. So, this is very strange because this just allows queen g1 and queen trade, which is what happened. White found it. Yeah, instead you can just play rook f2 and you're threatening to take it.
Yeah.
And if white defends... okay, it's not as straightforward, but knight e5 is threatening this. But white is just tied down to defending this pawn, so you can actually do anything. Knight h2 is also the same idea. You can even just move your king, which... You can do anything. You can push your pawns, because black is the only one playing here. And material is equal. Actually, black is a pawn up. You can even get a queen if you want.
Yeah, I'd actually wondered if that was the point of that knight move, was that he just was like, I don't have time to figure this out. I'm just going to push the...
Oh, I think you're right. That does make sense. You're protecting the queening square. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense, actually. But it's completely the wrong plan, because you already have a crushing attack. You don't need to rely on this pawn, which will take 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll take a lot of moves. Too many moves.
Yeah.
Knight takes... knight f2. Okay, once the queens are off, black is still a pawn up, but it's much more complicated. Knight here, threatening the pawn. Okay, so they gave away the pawn for no reason. You can just play rook f6 to defend it. Or rook e8 or push. Any of these moves would have been fine.
Yeah.
But okay, they gave the pawn, which is... Yeah, black just lost... yeah, I guess they just...
Lost their entire attack here, didn't they?
Yeah, I think maybe they also got tilted. They knew they were completely winning and they lost it and they couldn't get back from it mentally, maybe. Once the queens are off, it's just a lot harder. And okay, I guess white is threatening to take here, but sorry, black is threatening to take the e4 pawn, but you take here with tempo.
Yeah.
And then you can bring your knight back to defend. So rook, also the rook to f7 instead of attacking the knight is also strange, but he's defending against this check, which he didn't like, or they didn't like.
Okay.
So rook f7. Yeah, now white has control of has the initiative, I guess.
Yeah.
It's equal material, but oh, sorry, white is actually a pawn up. Sorry, black lost both of these pawns. Okay, now white is a pawn up. Okay, knight h3 to attack the rook. Rook moved. Intermediate check. Okay, this also just loses another pawn.
Yeah.
Okay, black seemed to get tilted and just lost everything. Oh, that's tough. I actually feel bad for black. They had such a nice position and such a nice attack. And they found such a beautiful move of sacrificing the knight. Earlier with knight here after h3.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Here. They found such a beautiful move, but the idea here was to play queen here first and then take it, because now you avoid the queen e1 move. Whereas if you play it here, knight takes after queen e1, you can have queen h2 and then bring the rook in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So what are we thinking?
Let me take a look at it from the top here real quick.
Yep. How about darlings? What do you guys think?
Yeah, so this late part of the opening just the bishop's opening could have been somebody who likes the bishop's opening, or could have been somebody who misremembered the move order, the Italian, which I did, while we were looking at this. Then some of these spices. And then, once white actually had a chance, they ran with it just really well, right?
Yeah. But I guess black just didn't give them any challenges.
Not after their attack failed. Yeah.
Yeah, after the attack failed, it looks like black just gave up.
I mean, I could see this being a 900. I could see this being a 1400.
Black or white?
Well, both.
Or the average?
We know that they're chosen, the average.
Yeah.
We've.
How
Yeah,
we got another radar.
I'm actually leaning towards the 1400, though.
Yeah, I'm also thinking white didn't play such a great game, but black played that knight move was really nice. Also thinking
it was, although it could have been also lucky. They could have been that they were just, okay, let me bring another piece into the attack, completely missing that their knight was under attack or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Let me see, but it seems like up until there, black didn't make any. It actually, black played pretty well. Like bishop e6 here is a good move, despite it looking weird, and white made this back and forth decision of then deciding to take. But black, okay, here actually black, you're right, black took, which was also not great. But then white took this bishop, so yeah, I'm actually going down. I'm gonna say 1500.
All right, so I'm saying 14. you're saying 15, and predictions closed a bit ago. So should we go ahead and switch tabs? Take a look.
Yeah, let's go. Houseline, I hope you had a great stream. Also, thank you for the raid, and everyone, make sure you go follow Houseline. They're gonna be playing in a tournament soon. The creator battle. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but there's a tournament with all chess.com streamers, and Lula's going to be commentating on their Creator Cup, yeah, on their games. Okay, so you're saying 1400, I'm saying 1500, and chat. Okay, Waterford Wizards says 1350, and some of you have put in your predictions. If you haven't put in your predictions, do you want to put in some guesses? Those of you that haven't put predictions in, any guesses? What do you think the average is? Thank you, Hasline.
I'll run it back through while chat puts theirs in. Yeah.
Yeah, and here Black just made a wrong move and it all went down after knight f2. And then White just... well, okay, White played well, but Black just gave away everything here. So one pawn went, another one, and now another one after knight g5, so Black just gave up. Okay, Houseline gut feel 1440. Anyone else? Owen? Okay, I'm gonna put in my guess. I'm gonna say 1500.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Did you switch overlays?
Yeah, I've got it up.
All right.
Okay, let's see. So 1500. Oh, well done, Piquan! You got it. 1402. You got it. That's excellent. Well done. Okay, 1402. That's actually a lot more accurate than the previous game. It feels like their levels are a lot more in tune with their ratings.
Yeah.
At the game level. The last one 1700, because I feel like this was maybe a bit better than the last game, but the last game was way overrated.
I think so. So what are their individual ratings? I've just got Twitch open on my phone here to check on chat. Yeah. But I can't see the individual ratings on the screen there.
So Black is 1398 and White is 1406.
Oh, okay.
So White is higher rated.
By just a few points, though. Yeah, they're very close.
Yeah. I guess they're. I would have thought that Black is higher rated, but actually, if we went back to the opening, it does make a lot of sense because Black played some really strange, unambitious moves like h6 early on, and also d6, deciding to play d6 instead of knight f6 earlier. But the knight sacrifice just put me off completely because it's such a great move. It's not an easy move to make. So, yeah. Okay. We can take a short break and then we'll come back for another one.
I'm down with that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, darlings. I'll see you guys in maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I'll just take a quick break and yeah, we'll resume after this. Hello everyone, welcome back. We're back with another ELO guesser. We'll do one more to finish off with. And you can have one final prediction. If you lost a lot of charms, this is your chance to win them back. Hopefully no one lost too many. Or hopefully you did so that you can bet a lot more now.
There you go.
Or your remaining ones if you have any left. Owen
Yeah,
wants
it looks like on the last one, most of them were split between 12 to 13 or 14 and up. So, and just landing right there at 1402.
Yeah, exactly. 1400. It was a tough one because if you guessed 1300, it could still be. Yeah, it could still be like 1380 or something. So well done,
Yeah.
Owen, for winning some points. Okay, let's go to the next one. We will open the predictions up maybe after the opening so that you'll have more time and we don't have to rush. I think the opening is the time where we spend most. Well, the opening is where we spend most time analyzing. Okay, let me just get it up. Okay.
And for those of you that may have just joined, yeah, thank you. Welcome. And this is my chess lesson. Deanna's my coach. I'm Piquan. And today we decided to review some games, but also make it fun. So we're pulling games out of Elo Guesser. All of these are Blitz games taken from chess.com. So, you know how Elo Guesser works. We're both putting in our own guesses, and chat has predictions as well.
Yeah.
So,
This one is gonna be a lot longer. It's 70
wow, 71 moves.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be a long one. We're finishing off strong. But yeah, feel free to also ask questions about the games as well because we're using it to as educational content as well. To see maybe errors that people made in the opening or later on as well. Okay, so we'll get started. White played e4, and now we have. So we've already had e4, e5, we've had e4, e6, and now we have e4, c5.
It's a very e4 heavy day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But also, I think it's just the most popular online move by a lot, I would say.
Yeah. Well,
Especially
I
in
had
Blitz.
expected to see one London today, but
That's true, you're right. Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like London was really popular at the start of COVID, at the start and during COVID, and then after COVID, it just dropped a lot because people started getting more into chess.
yeah,
Um,
I think that London does have that great advantage. Okay, you're just getting into the game. It's the middle of lockdown, and you want an opening that's easy to play. Yeah, it's got that great advantage.
yeah,
But so I would I started taking lessons from Deanna during the lockdown, and specifically avoided the London because I figured, okay, everybody's playing the London all the time. I want something different. So Deanna taught me the Kali Zukertort.
yeah, great,
But
great alternative to the London.
yeah,
Even though
but
people
I've
say
been
that it's a
wanting to
bad
play the
London.
Scotch some, and if I'm going to play an E4 opening, I need to be prepared against the Sicilian. I'm still kind of wary about that, but now we get a Sicilian to look at.
Yeah, definitely the scariest response to e4 and the thing that puts people off playing e4. But if you're not playing the open, then there are a lot of beginner friendly systems like the Alapin, um, which is what a few people play against it.
Yeah,
Also,
I was
yeah.
thinking about the Alpin. What do you think about the Grand Prix attack?
Yeah, also Grand Prix is a great option too. Alpine and Grand Prix. So it really also depends on your style. If you prefer more close positions, then Grand Prix is definitely a great option because you still get the aggressiveness of um I guess any aggressive opening. You just start an attack, but you don't need to deal with um black attacking you on the king side. Because you usually actually castle on the side that you're attacking. Whereas in the open Sicilian, you attack on the king side, but you're castle queen side, so you have to deal with opposite side castling and attacks that way. And the Alpin is like, I would say, beginner friendly open because you still get open elements, but it's not as aggressive because usually you also castle king side. So, and it's not as sharp. Although I don't know, Alpin can get really sharp, but I think black has some good lines to equalize. I think it's a tiny bit easier for black to deal with, and there's less to learn.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, is D4 even a thing here?
yeah, definitely D4. So this would be the Dutch gambit, I guess. No,
Okay.
sorry, Smith Mora. Dutch is with E5. Sorry, this is obviously the Smith Mora. Dutch is here after E5, D4, and then C3.
Okay.
Danish, but it's the same thing. Not really.
Well,
um,
you know,
yeah.
the people in Norway and Holland might take offense to this. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Sorry, Danish gambit. I get mixed up with them. Yeah, this is the Danish gambit. Um, okay, so sorry, C5. This is the Smith Mora. There's a big streamer. Why so serious? What's his name again? He's an international master, and he has a book called the Mayhem, Mora Mayhem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's quite a big streamer. Um, American guy. Yeah. That's gonna annoy me. I forgot his name. He's an international master. Not Ben Feingold. Wait, I'll be able to tell you.
I'm
Um,
looking it up
oh
now.
yeah, Mark Esserman. So if you want to learn the Mora, he's the guy to learn it from. He has a book out and um, he streams quite often. And he also streams playing tennis. So yeah, so D4. Okay. White is going for the Smith Mora. Actually, yesterday I played in a sub
You said
bat.
somebody is going for the Smith Mora, but they're not, are they? Since next they play the Queen. Queen
Oh,
takes D4.
sorry. You're right. That's true. Sorry. Okay, now this has given me a big indication that it's. I don't think this is gonna be a high quality game. Um. Okay. C3 is the main move here, and if yeah, if black takes, you just take back with the knight, and you give up a pawn, but you
You've got all
have
this development going, yeah.
yeah, and your bishops are really strong, and it's I actually do always accept the Mora. So here the um moves are you can take, you can push, or you can play knight f6. I usually, if you play knight f6, you can transpose into the Alpin. So this would be like a delayed Alpin. But if you take, yeah, some people are afraid of taking. I always take. Yesterday I had a sub battle though. I was playing for Phoebe, another streamer, and I lost the game and they played the Smith Mora, but the opening went well. He just knew the opening much better than me, and he caught me with some knight sacrifice trick. So there are a lot of tricks in this opening. Okay, anyway, sorry. So white took with the queen. Okay. Black played e6.
Black doesn't even, Black doesn't even play the knight out. Yeah.
Yeah. Not convinced. Yeah, knight out is definitely the best move here. You just kick the queen. Queen has to move somewhere. Maybe the best option is actually back to d1 so that you can still develop these bishops, but you can also just go back here and then maybe fianchetto.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can just develop. You don't have to be worried about e5 because the knight is covering. So knight out is by far the best move. e6 is also very committal already early on. Because you don't know if you want to play d6 and e5, or I guess you want to play d5, but maybe you can play d6, develop this bishop first, and then play e6. But maybe you want.
Maybe. I mean, I guess it just seems like you're giving white opportunities to open the center before you're remotely near being able to castle. Although white's not near being able to castle either.
Yeah. I mean, definitely a knight move. Although knight f6, I would be a bit worried about this, but actually, you can just play knight c6, so it doesn't. Yeah, knight f6 is also fine. Yeah, a knight move is the best option here. So e6. Okay, sure.
And just, well, he's eventually going to move that knight out, so let's move the queen.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, not the best instinct from white. So maybe he's playing. They're playing on autopilot, but now you have a chance to just develop a piece, and you can move the knight. The queen once black kicks you. Okay, queen to e3. Okay, knight out. Now's the time. In a weird way.
2 moves ago was the time, but yeah.
Knight out. Okay, black played d6. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But I think knight f6 maybe is a little bit better, and bishop e7. You don't need to play d6 yet. If e5 comes in, you can just play knight g4 and you can win the pawn. So
Okay.
You don't need d6 to stop e5. It doesn't work. If they play h3 now, d6 would make more sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
Okay, so d6. White played bishop d2. I guess they're preparing queenside castle. Knight out. Okay, white castled. And now bishop e7. Okay, and white is going for the attack. h4.
Okay, is white really able to go for an attack here? Or, I mean, it seems like they really want to get developed before they start this.
Yeah, you definitely want to develop first. Also, black hasn't even castled yet, so you're not even sure if they're going to even castle now that you've played h4. So
yeah.
they don't even need to castle. They can still save their queenside castle, or sometimes you can even keep your king in the center.
Yeah.
So h4.
I mean, queenside castling into an open file is a little bit iffy, but not terrible.
Yeah, it is. You do need to be careful, especially this queen is a bit annoying, but if you can you move your king to b8, you have enough time. If white has dedicated all their energy on the king side, then if you castle queen side, it would give you some I guess you just wouldn't have you wouldn't need to be worried about being attacked like quickly. Because white would have all their pieces on the king side, so then if you castle queen side, they would have to spend extra energy to bring their pieces back.
Yeah.
Okay, so black played a6. So now they want to start attacking on the queen side, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, a6.
Okay.
A6 is makes more sense than h4 because yeah, the king hasn't decided where to castle, but white's king has.
Okay, I see what you mean.
So a6 b5 is the most straightforward plan for black here because it's where yeah, white's king is, and also in the Sicilian you either break with d5 or b5, and here you've already played d6. And it doesn't make sense to open up the center when your king is there.
Right. But after a6, yeah, I'm looking at knight a4 eyeing b6.
Yeah, so this is actually a good idea, a good plan when you castle kingside and you usually play with a c4 structure to stop b5 and you want to keep pressure on the dark squares. But once you've already castled queenside, it doesn't even matter so much if you get your knight in because you need to keep your pieces around your king to defend. You don't really want to start attacking on the queen side.
Okay.
So knight a4 here, black could just play... to be honest, black could maybe already castle or... because even if you do go in here, you can just play rook b8, and if you had castle kingside, your knight would be great, but this knight is going to have a hard time getting back to defend if you started to put pressure on the knight. And already knight d7 is just threatening to trade, and then you no longer have this protector. I guess you could bring the other one. It's not so bad, but you're not actually threatening much.
Okay.
And you're not too enthusiastic about taking this bishop because it's a very similar situation to the previous game, where the bishop...
that bishop's not developed yet. It's whereas your knight is. So yeah.
Yeah, your knight is much better than the bishop, but it's not really hindering black's position too much. And sorry, also the c file is more vulnerable now as well.
Yeah. Okay.
But good spotting about the dark squares. So it's definitely a plan when you castle kingside and then you play c4. So, okay. White played h5, continuing the attack on no king. And black played h6, stopping h6 from white. Is that necessary? What do you think?
I don't think that it's I don't think that it's exactly necessary, but I don't think that it's going to really hurt you to do that. So oh, wait a minute.
What?
Okay, so I was just looking at if white plays h6, block g takes h6. If white plays h6, black does nothing. G takes h6, then that doesn't work because you've got that.
That's true. I guess now white actually has a nice route for the attack. So even if you do lose the exchange, your bishop and queen work really well around here. And even though the king hasn't castled yet, they're so far away from castling queenside that it's the king is a bit more vulnerable. But also they can take with the queen here.
Yeah. Okay.
Another thing is they don't maybe even necessarily need to take because their main objective was to open up files, and that's what they did already. So these pawns are probably going to drop in the future, but you don't even need to hurry to take them because there's no good way to defend.
Okay.
But another thing is that after h6, does black need to take?
No, so black's other option is to push, but with the um,
Wait, I'm
but
just
I'm not really sure about wanting to have all those dark squared weaknesses going, right?
interesting. So, here after h6, wouldn't you think that black would love this on the king side? Because what has happened now to the position on the king side?
Um, I mean, it's pretty locked there, isn't it?
Exactly. If you're um if you're attacking on opposite sides, your your priority is to be the quicker one to attack, but if you have the opportunity to close up um your opponent's attack and not allow files to be open, then you're just safe on that side and you can continue with your attack and you don't have to be worried about any pieces getting in. It's true that the dark squares are a bit weak, especially g7, but there's no piece that can really get into g7. The knight entry points are not available. The bishop can't get to h6. Even if they did place a piece on g7, if the knight could just go there immediately now, you just play king f8 and there's no follow up. Unless
Okay.
the queen can fly in, which is impossible. Um, but you don't even need to castle anymore. You can just leave the king here because the files can't be open. And if you do castle, you'd need to be worried about maybe some sacrifices on g6 to try and open up files. But you don't. There's no sacrifice that can open up the h file because when you take now this pawn on h6, in an endgame it would be great. It would be a passed pawn. But in the middle game, it's actually protecting black.
Yeah, it's a nice little shield pawn there.
Yeah. So, um, sometimes weaknesses um, like the dark squares here, are not such a bad thing because it's not on your list of main dangers. Open files are your thing to avoid. Is the thing to avoid at all costs. So after g6, you actually guarantee that no files will be open.
Okay, gotcha.
Um, Even if the pawn gets to f5, a file can never be open because the h pawn is there. So white would love to teleport back to h5 to then create an open file.
Yeah.
So g6 is a weakness if the pawn can get to h5, but if it's already on h6, sidestepping is always going to be useful for black.
Okay.
So,
Interesting. Yeah, I guess it just seems weird to surrender control of G7 there, but I do see what you're saying.
yeah, it's hard to do this, but if you remember to just keep an eye on it if your opponent is ever threatening to get to that square. But even if they did, it wouldn't help them too much. Even if they got a bishop there, you could just move your rook to g8, and there's no way to penetrate into black's position.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. White wants to open files, so this would actually let you breathe and just focus on your attack. So b5 should have been played by black here, ignoring h6 because it's not really a big threat if you have g6. If you don't have g6, which would never really be the case because, yeah, if there was something, if you would have to
Yeah.
take or leave it and allow white to take, then that would be a big threat. So you would need to play h6, but there's no issue here.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
okay, so black played h6 anyway. And now the problem is that g6 is very weak. So if you attack g7, you can't even play g6.
Ah, yeah.
So h6 is quite weakening here. Okay, and white played f4, which is also not really doing anything because you want to, take advantage of black's
That newly
weakening.
created weakness.
Yes. Queen g3 would be very uncomfortable. Because the only way you can defend is move your rook or castle, or bishop f8, which are all ugly. Look, they're ugly looking moves.
Yeah.
Castling would be suicide because you would actually just lose this h6 pawn. Since there's a pin.
Since it's bad. Yeah.
And rook g8 also doesn't look great. Now you've removed castling rights. Not that you would ever maybe even want to. Bishop f8 is just undeveloping, so yeah, it doesn't look good.
Okay.
Okay, so white played f4. Queen c7.
See, here I was thinking that f4, they might be trying to prepare e5 or something. I was just trying to think, okay, what are they planning here? But, and, yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't think that that goes anywhere. I'm just trying to think through, why some of these moves are being played.
Yeah, f4, I think you're right. I think d5 might be a threat because you want black to take so that you can open up the rook.
Yeah.
But it's not the biggest threat because the knight can just move to d7 and that would help the knight come to the queen side. And you can just ignore the pawn. You don't need to take it.
And unlike a position where where black had castled kingside, then displacing that f knight isn't a big deal. Yeah.
We just got a massive raid from St. Louis Chess Club.
Oh my goodness! Excellent.
Oh my goodness. Whoa. Okay, big raid. So they were covering the U.S. championships, so they must have finished. Which is also kind of crazy because usually I'm asleep when they're finished, so I never see the results. But thank you so much for the raid. Welcome everyone. We are doing Guess the ELO in instead of a private lesson. We're having the lesson on stream and allowing everyone to join in and guess the ELO with us, and we're also analyzing the game as we go to using it as educational content.
Well, why don't we run through the first 10 moves again real quick, let them catch up.
Yeah, let's have a look. So predictions will be out. I think maybe we can just put predictions close to when we're finishing, or even when we're finished, and we won't have them on too long. But okay, so we had a Sicilian, and then white decided to play d4. So we were expecting a Smith Mora, but instead white just took with the queen. So maybe this indicates that it's not the strongest game. And now again, knight c6 is the most aggressive, but they decided to play e6. Queen moved back again, not even attacked yet, so they're not in a rush to move the queen yet. They could just use the move to develop another piece. So queen went back, the pieces came out, and now d6 again is a bit slow. So instead you can just develop your knight. If the pawn pushes to e5, you can play knight g4 and you would take the pawn back. Or not back, you just take it for free. So e5 isn't a threat, but they didn't realize that, so I think. So they just played d6 to protect. knight came out, white castled queenside, black developed, and now white started the attack already, which we were saying is a bit early because the pieces aren't, all of white's pieces aren't out yet, and black hasn't castled, so h4 is not really prepared well enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really threatening anything. You're storming an empty castle.
Yeah, exactly. So black played a6, which is a great move because you're threatening b5, and that's black's main plan here. White has already castled, so it's straightforward to just start pushing b5 and b4. So white continued with h5, and here h6 is not really something you need to be worried about. So if black continues with b5, which is the best way to continue, after h6, it's not good to take because the queen would just take and you would destroy your king's side. You should just play g6. And we were saying that the dark squares might be a bit weak here, but there's no way to get to them. The entry squares are taken, but the main thing is that now the position has closed up, so we don't need to be worried about any open files on the king side or white trying to get into the position with an attack. But we still have the open c file and we can still create an open file with our pawns. But white has already given up that opportunity by closing up, by playing h6 and allowing black to close up with g6. And then white played f4. Black replied with queen c7. And now queen g3 comes in, and this is where we left off. So we're caught up. Okay, so white is attacking on g7. What would you play here?
Really, I'm kind of torn between a few ideas, none of which look spectacular. So, I can defend it with... Actually, I might go ahead and just go ahead and defend it with my rook. I don't think that I want to castle into that. But, we already talked about the defending with my bishop is just undeveloping it. And I had looked at either pushing it. I looked at pushing one or two squares, playing g6 or g5, but none of those really jumped out as working well for me.
Yeah, g6 or g5 are not great because you open up the files and also you lose the pawn anyway, since g6 is covered. But how about not defending the pawn and just continuing with the attack?
You could. I'm having a hard time visualizing black's attack here, and you'd want it to be, you can only ignore an incoming attack for so long, right?
Yeah, that's true. But if we look at it, black's king is still quite flexible here. So if you play b5 and white takes, you have to move the rook. So let's say you attack the queen, you lose another pawn, but now you can still go ahead and attack white's king, whereas white can't really attack black's king, since the king can always just go into d7, worst case, but even on e8, the king looks quite safe.
Okay.
This pawn is probably the biggest issue, but black is going to start to really create threats. So already, okay, the knight is attacked, the knight has to move somewhere. Let's say if the knight moves somewhere, already if the knight moves, actually you lose this pawn.
Right.
So if the knight moves here, can you not just... Oh, sorry, there's a double attack. I missed that. Queen h7. Okay, so you can't take the pawn because of queen h7, but you can just develop the bishop, and once the bishop comes out, you can use the c file.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to do because you are giving up 2 pawns, allowing white to have a pass pawn, but we're not in an endgame yet, so if you have enough pieces around your opponent's king, especially white's queen is out of the game. So you're going to be attacking with just with a queen versus no queen, which is a huge advantage.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed how paralyzed white's queen is there. Okay.
Yeah, f4 really puts white in a bad position here. Everyone's really quiet all of a sudden. You're allowed to chat. Chat is open to you guys. If you have any questions, you can always, or suggestions, you can always just write. Okay, so yeah, so actually after queen g3, you can just ignore the threat and go for b5 because queen takes on h6. There's no major attack on the king, just winning material.
Yeah.
And in these types of positions, material isn't the most important thing. Okay, so black decided to castle. f4 just stops the bishop from attacking h6, which is a bit annoying for white. So there's no sacrifice there, or even, sorry, free pawn. So here, yeah, white just probably needs to develop, which makes sense. Okay, and now black played b5, so black is continuing.
Hang on for a second. So from here, does f5 work at all?
Yeah, good suggestion. Okay, attacking the pawn. So,
well, yeah. Here I was looking at to threaten bishop takes h6. Yeah.
Yeah. So the only way to defend is how?
Like I guess king h8 would defend it.
Yeah. So king, just moving your king, h7 or
Okay.
h8, they both defend the threat, and it's always a useful move because now you can bring your rook in as well. Not that you're gonna attack on this side, but you can also defend.
Okay.
And then you can also bring your... Maybe h8 is a bit better because you still leave this square open for the knight. If you need to defend g5. It's actually always hard to decide which which square is better for the king because h7 allows the rook to come in, but h8 allows the knight to keep the square, but the rook coming in isn't really development that
with those two h pawns where they're at, then the rook's probably not going to want the h file. Yeah.
Yeah, they won't be able to use it. So the knight is much more useful here, and it also opens up the bishop. And g5 sometimes is a key square. So h8. That's maybe a slight, a small reason why h8 is a bit more, a bit better.
Okay.
Yeah, so f5 actually is a good move. Let's say after king h8. It's also not clear how useful this is for your structure because now you give away this square and it's much easier for black to use it.
Yeah. Yeah. Since you point out that king h8 defends things so easily, then now that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's always actually a lot of the times f5 is a good move because you can take on e6 and create weaknesses here, but it's not the most dangerous point for black.
Yeah.
Well, if black had to take with the pawn, maybe it would be quite strong because now g6 is a bit weak, but black can just take back with the bishop and you don't need to worry about it. So bishop can take, and now this bishop is amazing.
Yeah.
If the kings were castled, I guess, on the same side, then you would have a huge... I mean, it's kind of crazy how different the position is, but it also makes a lot of sense. But if the kings were castled on the same side, white would have a huge advantage because d6 is a big weakness. Whereas now d6 is not even a thing, but the weak king is. Is.
Okay.
So white decided to play bishop d3. Just developing another piece. Also protecting here. Black continued with b5, and now white played knight f3. And black played king h8, I guess just saving a prophylactic move. Just keeping this threat.
Keeping that threat out. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, white decided to play e5. Yeah, I think this is a nice move because if black takes, you take back. Well, the main thing is that white wants to remove this knight from the defense. But black has 1, 2, 3 attackers, and white has also 3. So, black still took. White took back, and now you can't take back, so you have to move your knight out of the way. So knight moved. Yeah, I guess here it's hard to decide where to bring your knight. So either knight d5, knight here, or, okay, this is actually really difficult, but you can also ignore the threat and just play knight b4, which is just a computer line. Oh, sorry, it's not. Can they take the knight? We missed this, actually. I missed this.
No, they hang their queen.
Yes, it's pinned, exactly. So that's why it was important for black to take here, because now the knight is attacked, but after you take, pawn takes, now there's a pin, so your knight isn't even attacked. You can actually just continue with your attack.
Oh, gotcha.
So you don't need to worry about it, which is quite nice. So black didn't spot that pin. I guess we didn't either, and we're also just focused on analyzing. So I'm not sure if that.
We're not playing a blitz game here.
Yeah, I don't know if that gives us much insight. It's not the easiest thing to spot. Okay, so they just played knight d5. The knight took, and black took back with the pawn. And now white played rook e1. Okay. Guess just giving an extra protector to the pawn and also the rook on the d file. I mean, I actually think the rook on the d file was useful because it's putting pressure on d5, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not feeling a plan going here, right?
For white?
Do you know what I mean?
You mean for white?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think rook e1 doesn't really link into anything. A few other candidate moves. So maybe because you want open files, you want to start pushing this pawn. So maybe you could play queen f4 and then try and play g4, g5. Try to force something to open up. Or maybe not even f4 because you would want the bishop to cover. But that would be a plan, is to try push this. Another thing is that, well, if you want to attack, you want to go on open files, and rook's should be on the files that are as open as possible, and F1 is much more open than E1, just because it's not your pawn in front.
Yeah. Well,
So
do we
maybe,
want to bring the D for that, or would we want to bring the H rook?
good question. I would. Yeah, that's actually a good question. Since we're attacking on the king side, I would think about the D rook, but actually the H rook isn't really ever gonna be open on the H file, so maybe the H rook is actually better. And then you have both rooks on the on your most open files. But that's a tough decision to make. I think it would just depend on the way that your mood.
Okay.
But maybe objectively the H rook is better because the H file isn't opening up anytime soon.
And Waterford's asking about bishop c3 from here, I think.
Bishop c3. That's also a good suggestion because maybe this diagonal is better. I just think that you'll run into these two problems. So b4 then comes in with tempo, and now you have to move your bishop back, and you've just helped your opponent get an extra move, I guess. And you just don't have time to go for this threat, which would be really nice. Okay, so rook e1. Now the knight is threatening a lot of things here, mainly just threatening to take this pawn with check. So you don't.
Is this a situation where you'd want to trade off your bishop for it?
Yeah, I think this is. Yeah,
Okay.
I think this is. Sorry, you're actually threatening to take this for free because there's a pin.
Yeah.
So you can't defend both. You actually have to take, I would say.
So you can't defend both? What about king b1?
Oh yeah, you're right. That's true. Sorry. King b1. That's true, but I guess I don't know if you want to give away that.
It's a great move.
Yeah, I mean, it actually does defend both. You're right. I missed that. But here you can just take. Sorry, the knight can still just take on d3, and you're allowing, I guess, black to open up the c file fully, which is in. That's actually not even the biggest problem. The biggest thing is that this bishop was so strong, I think.
Yeah.
It's a good bishop. It's better than your dark square bishop, so you're happier to trade the dark square one than the light one.
Okay.
So in the game. Oh wait, in the game.
Oh, they did play king b1. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, okay. Here definitely taking is the better option. And then you just have to move this rook again. Maybe you can bring it to f1 or back to d1.
Yeah.
Okay, so king b1 was played. The bishop was taken, pawn takes, and now bishop f5, putting pressure here. Okay, now knight here, defending it with the queen. Nice lateral defense. Always something that I think is hard to see because you don't really think about your queens and rooks defending horizontally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
as important as that is in an endgame.
yeah, exactly. It is really important, especially if the queen is on the other side of the board. Sometimes you, I've missed a lot of tactics like this. Okay, so also the bishop was attacked, so now the bishop moved out of the way.
Yeah.
Maybe bishop h7 is a bit better to keep pressure on this diagonal. This diagonal is just a lot more active. It's better to defend, and it's also just much more attacking. And on e6, it's just another pawn.
So, but one thing I'm looking at, if you have the bishop on h7, is I was trying to see if you had anything going on with trying to uh, with trying to bring rooks here and here, and then your knight up here. But I couldn't put it together. And effectively ending up, where your rooks can't, like your rook can't really operate effectively anymore because they're all tied down. The queen's
So you're looking at sacrificing the knight.
Yeah.
Okay. But what do you get in return?
Position. Very active rooks back on the 7th. But I don't think that it works out.
Yeah. If you could guarantee your rooks getting on the 7th, that would be great. But also, if you bring your rook to f1, and then if you eventually get your knight there, black is always going to be happy to trade rooks. So either you're going to have to give up the file and move it out of the way, or be happy to trade as well, which I guess you wouldn't want to. But another idea is you don't even need to use your knight. You can actually just think about moving this, so you just have to move your queen out of the way if you wanted to get the same idea going. And you don't even need to sacrifice the pawn because it's well protected.
Yeah, true.
So if you ever do spot, if you come up with an idea that you want to try and pursue, and you spot one way of achieving it, sometimes there's other ways. Maybe they take a move or two longer and they're a bit more sneaky or harder to see. But if you can find an alternative plan, you can weigh them both, I guess. Yeah. So the bishop went back to e6. Oh, sugar. Okay, 1 sec. Okay, so...
Yeah, thanks. After all these sidelines, Sue, it's hard for me to remember where we came from.
Yeah.
So you did this entirely on purpose, I know.
Yeah. Okay. Once we have the predictions open, we'll run through it again anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna fast forward a bit. I'm just gonna go a bit faster. So, since we have another 50 moves. Okay. Rook c1 to attack the queen makes a lot of sense. Maybe you could also consider taking that bishop just to open up the g6 square. I think that would actually be quite useful for white. You don't need to play queen g6 immediately, but now rook c1, this looks a lot nicer for white. And it's always good to trade another piece because I would say black's attack is more dangerous than white's attack because of the open file here.
Okay.
But actually, this is a tough decision because this knight is really strong and this bishop is not that great. And from the past 2 games that we saw, it was better to keep the knight. But here, the weakness that this creates is a lot easier to use than the the not so active bishop. Because I wouldn't really call this bishop a weakness, it's just not active.
Yeah.
But here you're actually creating 2 concrete, mainly e6 is a weak pawn.
Well, e6 is weak, although you're strengthening d5 in this process.
Yeah, that's true. You are strengthening d5, yeah, that's true. But d5 wasn't, yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's true. I guess even here d5 isn't such a big problem because it is well defended by a bigger pawn.
Yeah.
But you're right. But here, if we think about it, black doesn't actually have that many weak points. I guess h6 and g7, but they can be protected. Okay, so
So we attack a queen.
Yeah, we attacked the queen.
We've already gotten rid of the knight over there. And, yeah.
Yep, queen moved out of the way. Why is everyone so quiet though? I don't think chat has ever been this quiet, even when there's a few people. So,
Yeah. Didn't.
I think.
Yeah, there's 130 people
I know.
in chat, and there we go. Yeah. Yeah. Get it going,
Hey,
17.
17. Yeah, it's 1
Yeah,
a.m. I
you would
know.
think
Waterford was.
St. Louis was going to be this quiet.
I guess most of the darlings are asleep because it's very late. Here it's 2 a.m. And for Waterford Wizard it's 1 a.m. You don't need to stay up too much longer, Waterford Wizard, if you need to sleep. You don't need to stay up modding. But for everyone else who's new, you're welcome to join in. It's not as big of an event as the US Championships, but we can have the same energy. Okay, so rook c1 attacking the queen. Queen back. Queen moved out of the way to b6. And
Would rook c6? No, it doesn't work. Okay.
a good suggestion. I guess the knight is attacked, but once you defend the knight, then rook c6 I think actually might be an option to. You can double up here, and then if you can trade 2 rooks, that would be good.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, bishop e3 to defend the knight makes sense. Oh. Okay. Wait, did you see the move? Okay.
No, I
So
didn't.
there's a really nice tactic here for white. Bishop c5 is actually a blunder. So yeah, here white is threatening a discovered attack, I guess, with the knight. Maybe just
Well,
moving.
so after bishop c5, Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a big threat. So black
I had
is.
actually been analyzing through knight takes bishop there, but
Yeah. Yeah, this
I
also
think
would be
that
good. The queen can just. The queen can take back, but otherwise this would be also another option. But here, this is really strong because now you're threatening mate.
yeah.
But and your bishop is defended, which is the main point. But this is not so easy because. Okay, so I guess the best way to defend would be to either just protect mate or move the queen out of the way. But after bishop c5, white has a winning continuation.
I mean, is it not just like we had just said, knight f5?
Knight f5, but you're no longer attacking the queen, so you can just the bishop can take the knight. I guess then bishop takes.
Yeah, knight f5, bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop, forking the queen and rook.
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
But
yeah, that's true.
yeah.
You have better. That's actually a really good line as well. It's definitely better for white, but you have even better. This is a big indication of
Well,
the elo, I think.
so I think that you've also got the same idea with rook takes bishop.
Okay, exactly. Well done. Rook takes bishop, queen takes, and then.
And then again, we've got knight f5.
Exactly. So you can win the bishop for free because queen takes is just losing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you just win a full piece. And then you can double up, and white is just playing on their own here. Exactly, well done. So rook takes c5. White missed that. White played strange move. So they actually missed. There's loads of winning lines. Taking here is also winning because you're threatening a lot of things. So they would have to take
Is
back.
that what I said I was analyzing earlier?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So you cannot. Yeah. So now the bishop is the target. So when the queen takes back, you lose another piece. Or you just lose a full piece. But yeah, this works, and this works. So you have 3 opportunities here to make a winning move, and white decided to take none of them and play queen f4.
And in true lesser fashion, yes.
Which this would be. I mean, if you didn't want to take any of them, at least play something like rook. Oh, sorry. Your knight is attacked. Never mind. I was gonna say that the queen is just on such a good square that you don't want to not threaten g7, but sorry, the knight is actually just attacked.
Yeah, you'd refer to that as a strange move, and I'm kind of, okay, yeah, you're defending your knight.
Yeah, that's true. I was so focused on the other attacks. Yeah, you're just defending. So white missed the discovered attacks. Yeah, I guess you can't play g4, which is the biggest thing. Okay, bishop takes. Okay, so the bishop decided to take, which probably is the best line because there's still discovered attacks. Okay, bishop knight f5 is not really attacking anything anymore. Yeah. Well, sorry, it's threatening to take here and here. Maybe there are some threats here. Good night, Waterford Wizard. Thanks so much for coming in.
Sorry, I don't see what you're saying about that threat that the knight still has going.
Maybe it doesn't work, but there's sacrifice ideas here with knight takes g7, and after the king takes, you can take on h6. And then the king goes to g8. Maybe you can bring your bishop to g6 and threatening mate.
Okay.
I don't know if it works. I guess we can double check. Let's say if they just play a5. But sorry, actually it doesn't work at all because you just...
That's kind of what I was wondering is, yeah, okay, knight moves, bishop takes bishop.
Yeah, you just lose everything. Or mainly lose the bishop. Yeah, it's not a big threat. It's not a threat at all. But if there wasn't... Yeah, if there wasn't this move, let's say if they played something like this, I think you can just... Oh, sorry. Okay, still they can take the bishop. If they can't take the bishop, I think this is actually really good for white.
Yeah.
And now it's just winning. So... Okay, so black took, white took back. Okay, queen is attacked, so it has to move out of the way. Now they're threatening to take here. Okay, so here...
I mean, they're not threatening that right now. There's nothing backing it up.
No, sorry. Oh, yeah. Wait, I thought the king was on c1. Wait, this is... they brought their king to b1 and then their rook to c1. It looks like they castled...
They castled king side on the queen side.
Yeah. Yeah, so now moving the bishop here doesn't make any sense because now you're just allowing this threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, here... can you find a good move for white?
Well, let's see here. So now that you're the only one with a dark squared bishop, that I might consider b3. I'm I'm also going back to some ideas of okay, so I'm wondering if you might be able to have some ideas of Queen E3 to prepare of playing Queen E3 to prepare Bishop B6, and part of that being that okay now the queen's got to move out of the way, and then you could go ahead and freeze that pawn. But I'm guessing that you're seeing something better.
Okay, so queen playing bishop b6. I guess it's attacking the queen, but which side of the board are we playing on?
Well, on the king's side for sure.
So how can we try to create some
We can
threats?
and we can just go ahead and start pushing pawns.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
d4 is good.
okay.
g4 is good. You're threatening g5, and then you can just take on h6.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is actually quite a big threat. You need to stop it by playing queen d8. If you let this, white will just be able to get their everything in. Now they have their open files,
Yeah.
which they need. So yeah, here white played bishop c5. Just allows d4, but black missed that. So they defended the rook. They just moved the rook out of the way. This would have been a really strong move.
Yeah.
Okay, so bishop moved out of the way. I guess the bishop is on a really good square here, but still d4 is a threat. Okay, and they played d4. G3. I guess it's sorry, b3. I'm looking at the king side.
That is the queen side there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, b3. It's the only way to defend. I guess you can also play a3, but then b4 comes in and you open up the file.
Mm-hmm.
So b3. Queen went back. Although the queen doesn't need to go back.
Yeah.
Um,
But the
yeah.
queen's not going to be doing anything there with only the light squared bishop to help out.
Yeah, that's true. You're no longer attacking a2, but you can also play rook c3 here, which is a nice move. Because now you're threatening to take and then take here. Then there's going to be mating threats.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so rook c3 would have been good. Queen went back. Okay, g4. Okay, g4 is played now, which is a nice move for white. Rook c.
But it allows that, which means that now your queen is oh no, the queen's not really going to be tied down for long, are they? I was thinking that was tying your queen to the defense of the g pawn, but
Oh right, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
since I've been thinking that he was going to play rook g1 to be able to continue the attack.
Yeah, so white's plan, I guess rook g1 would help support g5, but you don't even need the additional support because g5 is still possible.
Yeah.
But this allows for a rook trade, which is not what you want. Well, I think g4 is probably the best option anyway, because you don't want to move the rook away from the c file. So a rook trade is not in white's favor, but also you don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
So rooks come off. Okay, queen move back. I guess. I don't know. Okay.
Okay, so We move.
Okay, sorry, white is threatening to just take a pawn.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. Queen moves out of the way. Now g5, going for the attack. Pawn takes, queen takes. If you don't take, then white will take.
Yeah.
Okay, the eval bar really went up here. Okay, rook c8. Can you find the best move here for white? Or anyone in chat? Ghosts.
Come on, we've got 119 people here, many of whom are probably from the St. Louis Chess Club. Okay. Well, okay, so you've got mate threats with rook g1.
Excellent. Hello, Poppin'
Yeah.
Buckets. Thanks for messaging. Rook g1, excellent move. So it's white to move. Well done, Piquan. So rook g1, you're threatening mate on g7, and it's looking very uncomfortable for black. Maybe rook g8 has to be played. And now, can you find an excellent move for white?
I'd go with h6 probably.
Yeah, h6 is really strong, but you have an even stronger move. After h6, they can play g6, and you no longer have a threat on g7. Wait, you have to think about this, but actually g7 is covered by the rook.
Yeah.
Excellent 17! Bishop f8. Hello, Owen. Owen is still awake at 1:34. Okay. It's
Bishop,
almost...
oh my goodness, Bishop f8. Yeah. Wow, that is brutal.
Yeah, really beautiful move here. You're threatening to take the pawn, and then it's made on h6. And you can't...
Oh my goodness.
You can't really stop the mate. Okay, you can play f6 and bring your queen in, but you can just take the pawn because after this there's mate. Wait, it's actually not mate.
No,
wait,
it
is. You can take here. Game, yeah. Okay, so yeah, there's no way to stop the mate here. Really nice move, bishop f8. So rook g1, rook g8 was played. Oh, yeah, okay, white missed this, which it's a hard move to see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would say it looks harder than it is because once you know the rook is tied down to g7 and you need to attack g7 again, this is the only way to attack it. So it's still a forcing move where considering it, you should still consider it if you're going down checks, captures, threats, because it's a big threat.
Sure.
But if you're not looking for checks, captures, threats, then it is hard. It looks like a very hard move. Okay, so h6. I mean, this does look like the most automatic move, but if you see that they can play g6 and neutralize the position a bit, you know you don't have an entry point since the rook is defending that square.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. So now white did play this check, but actually it doesn't help white at all. The best move here is h7 because what you want is an open file. If the king takes, now you have... sorry, you don't have that.
Yeah.
Not yet, but you have the open file and now you have mating threats.
Yeah.
Queen f6, king can't go back. Oh wait, sorry, no. You can just play rook h1, I think.
Yeah, now you can play rook h1.
Yeah, you're threatening queen h6.
And they have to sacrifice their queen to keep it alive.
Yeah.
Keep the game alive, yeah.
One sec. Okay, so the main threat looks like a puzzle in my newspaper. Oh yeah, it is. It is. It is a puzzle. I guess all of this, at the end, all of this is a puzzle. um, I am getting really tired. Okay, I'm gonna try get life is a puzzle. Yeah. If you start asking me these at 2:38, this is not a good time for me to answer these questions.
Hey, you wanted chat to be more active.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that you guys are more active. This feels like when I did a 24-hour stream. I'm getting towards that level. Um, okay, so sorry, H6 was played. It's not the strongest move because you no
Because
longer
G6 kind of makes things peter out a bit. Yeah.
yeah, and um, Queen F6 just actually doesn't have any threats. So Queen F6 looks good, but it's not doing anything. H7 is what you want because you want to force an open file. After Rook G7, now you get a check, so you force the open file. Even if you can't occupy it now, well, you can with the queen, but followed by Rook H1, it's just so crushing. So I guess the biggest theme of this game was just open files is what you want. Hello, Phil.
Yeah. So this all goes back to way earlier when we this goes back to way earlier when you were saying, okay, you know, should black play H6 there?
Yeah, early, yeah, exactly. And now you just, ever since you've played H5, H6, you just want to get rid of that pawn. Whether promotion or just giving it away for free, both are probably the same level.
So let's hear. Poppin Buckets is asking about Queen F6, then Bishop F8.
Okay, so Queen F6 was played, but you're not threatening anything. You're not going to take the bishop, but your bishop isn't threatening anything. It's just protecting the pawn that you want to give away. Black can just continue on his adventure. Oh, Blason. Well, the rook needs to stay there, though. You're already blocking the rook by threatening mate. The rook can never move from here. But good idea, I guess. If they, I mean, there's no real way for black to defend it again. I guess this would be well, okay, it's impossible. So actually, there's no other way for black to defend G7. If there was, then that would be useful because you would prevent them and keep them tied down. But yeah, black is just happy to keep pushing here and opening the files here. So, oh, this was actually played. Bishop F8 was played, okay?
Okay.
Bishop F8 was played. A move too late. So instead of H6, Bishop F8 was winning. Queen went back to C8, which is what 17 just suggested.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
So now threatening to take the bishop. Bishop just moved back. And now, excellent move. Queen C3. Threatening to take on D3 and just damaging white's position here. Even though the king can't come in because it's tied down, the queen can do some damage on her own. So queen went back to defend. Okay, you want to keep your queen there to keep this threat. The second the queen moves out of the way, the rook is free. But you need to defend this pawn. So if you play...
Is there any problem with Rook G3?
Oh yeah, sorry. There's just a double attack.
Yeah.
So you just need to play Rook D1, which is annoying, but it keeps the pawn defended, so it does its job. It's not active, but this isn't the easiest position for black to win, though.
No.
okay, it's maybe a bit straightforward, but there's no clear win. Like mate, maybe some, yeah, okay, some sacrifices here. Not sacrifices, but some pawn breaks. Queen defended though. Now, oh, okay. Black just went.
And that's such a horrible bishop set. Like that bishop that was sitting there guarding the F pawn.
Yeah, there's no need for this sacrifice. There's no need at all for the sacrifice.
I don't see what the plan at all was.
I get, it could have been that Black just wanted to equalize, but they didn't go for the perpetual, so maybe they just wanted to get their rook in with check.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe they just overestimated. It makes an immediate draw, but this game went on for 70 moves, so they didn't even want to draw. So if it was for the draw, it wouldn't be good, but it would make sense because maybe they felt a lot of pressure with this queen here, even though it didn't work. But you hallucinate a lot in games generally. People do, but yeah, they didn't go for the draw, so that makes even less sense. Because if you just sit still, not even sit still, you can just attack. The rook is no longer tied down. Or just push the pawn.
It's so the rook's not tied down. You're saying that it could go over to the C file and attack?
Yeah,
but
you're also stopping.
I mean,
yeah. Now,
so you're saying that if you play the queen up there, the rook just goes back? Oh.
I guess the rook can just go back. You take this pawn first. You can also use your bishop, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Now you have to sacrifice.
No.
Yeah. Black was in YOLO mode. Yeah. I mean, that's really just there's no reason for it. Okay, and they went for this. Oh, wait, sorry. King A1.
King A1 is a draw. King C1 is force mate.
Yeah. King A1 after Queen C3, there's just perpetual. But now Black can actually win, so now the sacrifice makes sense. If you see this, then it makes sense. But now that we know it's 70-something moves, you know what happened? Rook C2. Oh my goodness. Can you guys find the mate in 3? There's mate in 3 for Black.
Of course I saw it immediately. I'm just giving chat a chance to catch up. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Yeah, okay, so
Okay. We've got the suggestions.
So I'm right now thinking Queen C3, King F1, Rook C1.
So you need to keep the rook on the second.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, not Rook C1 there. Yeah, Queen D2.
You're really close. Do you have any checks?
Okay, so following Queen C3, King F1. I've oh, there we go. I've got Queen A1.
Yeah, excellent. Queen A1, they have to block with the
And
queen.
then, yeah, Queen D1, Queen takes, Queen mate.
Yeah, it's not easy to see this Queen A1 move. Here they decided to play Queen B1, which is very tempting. Actually, sorry, this is
Yeah,
just completely winning anyway. Okay, now we see why
yeah.
70 moves. We don't even need to look at it in too much detail after. Wow, that's insane. Oh my goodness. Okay, the bishop sacrifice makes a lot of sense now because white didn't want the draw. So maybe black wanted a draw and then white didn't, and then they went on to win it.
Yeah.
That is weird, but that's crazy. So here there's mate in 3. Black didn't find it, but they instead went for the queen. If white wins this game, that I'm done. So I'm just gonna go through it quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, they gave away the pawn. They gave away another pawn.
And the other pawn.
I'm getting less and less confident. Okay. Wait. Okay. Why didn't black?
Good question.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay. What? No, I'm done. I'm actually done with this game.
Well, I mean, so you trade a queen for the rook, and you're about to make another one.
But the bishop can just come back. Yeah, my
Yeah,
rook
you're right.
games maybe are worse, but this you have a queen. You don't need to do that. You can just move the queen back and start pushing the f pawn. Or you can actually. Okay, I mean this is not so easy to see that after g3 if they take, I think you probably have some. Eventually you will. If the rook is too far away from the king and not defended, eventually you'll have check and rook at some point.
Yeah.
Check here and then. Okay, the idea is eventually you'll get a check and rook. But okay, that's not very intuitive. But if you just move your queen out of the way, let's say if you just play queen here and then play f5, this is so much easier. There's no need to give away your queen. What? Black? Oh no! Wait, wait. Wait. White won on time, I guess.
Oh, well, that explains a lot of the last moves.
No way. White won this game. No way. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's actually insane. White won. Okay, time to predict. I'm gonna put in the prediction.
You put in the prediction. I'll start a replay here.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in for. You've got 2 minutes to predict what is the elo of this game. What is the average rating of this game? I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess. 1500.
Yeah, but does a 1500
2 minutes.
respond to Sicilian with d4 and then queen takes pawn?
Oh yeah, you're right.
But
Okay.
everything else seemed to be pretty sensible,
Yeah.
more or less.
Black played really well though. I'm gonna say I'm gonna stick to my. I'm gonna say 1400. 1400.
14, huh?
Yeah. They play Sicilian, and I don't think anyone under 1000. So I don't think it's under 1000. 1300 maybe, but I think I'm just gonna stay with. I'm just sad that it makes me sad that Black missed. Black didn't make any major mistakes though. Yeah, I'm gonna say 1400. Maybe 15.
Well, how hard do you think that end game, back when we had all the shenanigans with
I think
the
they were low on time.
okay.
I think they were just trying they're trying desperately to push pawns. Um, I do that
Well,
in
I meant
Village.
back when you had the queen and rook on the first and second.
Oh, then yeah, there's mate. They just missed the mate. I think. I think they. Sorry. Yeah, they missed the mate. I think they saw the winning idea with rook c1, and they thought that it's enough to have the queen.
Okay.
Or that's what I would think. Because once you see that, I think you're happy to go for it. Because you win the queen, and I don't think you say, look for a better move. Unless you have loads of time. But if you're playing blitz, then you're happy, I would say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say. I'm saying 14. 14. I'm going to say 14-20. Okay, predictions are up. What is your prediction?
Okay, predictions closed. All right. Ooh. You know what? I gave you a hard time about your 1500 earlier. I'm actually going to say 1500.
Okay, you're taking my prediction away from me.
Well, you changed yours to 14, didn't you? After you saw
Yeah. Yeah, I
the queen
changed
takes pawn.
14-20, so if you get it right, it's because you sabotaged me.
All
Okay.
right. Well, yeah, I can go ahead and change mine around a little bit. I'll go for 1560.
No, you can keep it 1500.
Okay.
I'm only joking. So you can keep 1500 or
Um, no, I'll go with 1560.
okay, so you're saying 1560, I'm saying 14-20. Let's see. Chat,
Okay.
any last lock-ins before I press enter? If anyone gets this correct, I'll give you a gift sub if you put in a number. Okay, 1717. Sure, 17. That's a guess for 17. Um so any guesses? If you guess the right answer. Oh, now you chat. Okay. Sure, you just needed a little bit of an incentive. Okay. You get a gift sub to the channel if you get the right answer. Give or take. I'm gonna say 20 points difference. So if you're not exactly, if you're within 20 points range, I'll give you a gift sub. Okay, two more. Any last ones? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's see. 1944!
What?
Oh! Oh my goodness!
I'm sorry, you said 1924?
Sorry, 44.
1944. Oh my. Wow.
Oh my goodness. 1944. So the ratings are 1943 for black and 1945 for white. That's crazy. Yeah,
Did
black
anybody
lost on time. Nobody was even
black lost?
close.
Okay.
17, you're not surprised. Then why didn't you guess that? Okay. I mean, they missed this tactic, which is actually quite bad, though, I would say.
Which tactic?
This one, when they played bishop c5 and they missed that knight f5 is there. Both white and
Okay,
black missed it, which I think is quite a big thing to miss. And also they have 2 minutes, which is a lot of time.
Yeah.
Okay, but you guessed 1717 for a reason. Okay. Yeah, that's weird. Okay. I mean, blitz, sure. Okay, so after that, I mean, I guess this sacrifice does make some sense, though.
Yeah.
But they didn't see bishop f8 with 1 minute 37.
So why don't you paste the link to the chess.com game
Oh,
into
yeah.
chat there?
This is the game. Yeah, that's true. I guess I missed a lot of things as well. Yeah. Okay, I'm biased anyway because we analyzed it pretty deeply anyways. But 1900, that's kind of crazy. I would hope I would miss these things. I've been playing a lot of Bullet, so I think Bullet is very different to Blitz though. Also, sorry, this guy with black does have account closed. And let me see if there's a
For
reason.
what?
This account has been violating fair play policy. Okay. That changes things a bit.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. That changes things.
Yeah. Go ahead and can you send me that link in Discord?
Yeah.
Thank you. So let me take another look at that here. Okay. So I'm not seeing like some of the obvious signs of cheating, like taking the same amount of time on each move or something.
Yeah. I don't think they. Maybe they didn't cheat on this game, but
Oh,
maybe they cheated another time. I mean, I guess black
yeah.
played.
Their account was closed in 2013, but this is a 25th. Their account was closed in 2023, and this is a 2015 game.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. But their rating in 2015 was 1943. It could have been lower. Oh no, it's sorry. This is the
It was
2015 rating. Now it's a lot higher. Now it's 2185.
yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, if they were a bot, then they would have also caught some of that end game stuff too, right?
yeah. They were also a lot lower on time throughout the whole game, which would be in line with. Anyway, I doubt
Yeah.
they. I don't think that they cheated in this, but I'm actually surprised about the rating. Um. Okay,
Yeah,
darlings.
everybody's surprised. All chat was surprised.
Yeah, we're actually surprised on all of them. Maybe the previous one was the least surprising. We got that one.
I got within 3 points of the second game.
Yeah. Okay, so the prediction was 18 to 1900. Okay, I don't think anyone got anything. Some of you just lost some points. Or maybe, did any of you get something? I don't think so. Nobody got it, yeah.
Yeah, 95% in the 1600 range and 5% in the 1400 range. But yeah.
Also, I think we probably influenced them a lot. By the way, we were giving them a lot of.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Well, each of those categories was also just one voter each. So.
Yeah, from the 100 people.
Yeah, most of whom are new here don't have all the Lucky Charms,
That's true. I think you start off with a few hundred though.
Okay.
I can understand why you want to keep close to them. Okay, well, it's 3 a.m. here, so I'm going to sleep and I can't wait to sleep. But
Like that.
thank you so much for coming on and um, letting us have the lesson on stream.
Well, thank you, Diana. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. I enjoyed it too. I hope chat did as well, even though you guys were quiet. We're going to take the silence as you were enjoying it too much to want to disturb it.
There
Um,
we go.
so chess up. Yes, we'll have some tournaments next week. I won't be here Monday to Wednesday. I'm going to Berlin, but I will be back on Thursday, and we can have some tournaments. Um, so I will see you guys in the next stream, and I will see Piquan next lesson. We'll definitely do this another time, and make sure you guys join the Discord if you want to be updated on when we're going live next. So all the details are in Discord. I will maybe do a schedule for the next week, but we have some fun things coming up. So I will see you guys later. Thanks so much for coming in. And oh yes, we have to raid. We have to find someone to raid. Who will we raid?
Oh, wow. Let me see who's streaming. Let's see here. Nemo's doing poker.
Yeah, we've got Nemo, Uncle Jesse, Lefong, Thinker Teacher. Um, we've got Smoothly, who is Lula's friend, and he seems like he's a small enough streamer, so I think that would be good
Oh, there
to.
we go. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go over to a smaller streamer. Um, and bring over the ghosts. So, let's go over to Smoothly. Please be more active in his chat. I will see you guys next week. Thanks so much for coming in. Thank you so much, Piquan. It was great to have you on. And I will see you guys later.